private music from Deftones. I only heard it yesterday and I was like, gosh, this is just so good. Like, if you look at this, the artwork on this is so good. Like, the visualizer thing they've got, is that 8-bit or is it like 4-bit? I don't understand those sort of languages or computer languages myself. So I think it's an 8-bit sort of style of, animation. And it's just so, it's such a great way to do something without having to spend a lot of money to produce. I don't know how they did this, but I just love this. There's just such very emotional little bits and pieces that moves along with this song. It's like, yeah, totally check it out. Totally check it out. Okay. So today I'm going to, as I mentioned, we're going to look, I'm going to do some work. And while I'm doing some work, I am going to be talking about this wrestling incident that happened today. This, over the last couple of days, which, to be honest, for someone who's actually been knocked out and coming to and realizing that someone's wailing on you, trying to do damage to you, is the most scariest thing. So welcome to the Monkey Show. This is Aru, the Monkey King of Zeolandia. Today I'm going to be doing some work, and I'm going to be, color, what is it called? Color flatting. That's the word. It's been a couple of days, so I forget what I'm supposed to be saying at what sort of point. So we're going to be doing this cover A, finishing off this cover A, right, of the color flatting job here. And then while I'm doing that, we'll be talking about this wrestling incident with Rampage Jackson. For those people who don't know what Raja means, it's an Indian word meaning king. Right. So Rampage went and named his son an Indian word, or whatever, whatever other Indian diaspora uses that word. But Raja is basically, to Indians means king. So he named his son King Jackson. Right? I wonder what Prince of Pop, Michael Jackson thinks of that. Anyway. So I'll do some work. I'm going to put on this, this clip to watch for us, for these guys who actually stopped, the actual murder, because this was an attempted murder. But these guys actually stopped them, the murder. So this is from a channel called, and I'm only going to play the first introduction of it, so you guys can, and probably about, I think it's around about 5 minutes of it, because I don't, as you guys know me, if you've been here long enough on this channel, that I don't like to take away, use other people's, show everybody, other channels complete work, their uploads or whatever you want to call it, their videos. So this is where you'll find them. Let me grab this. Disappear so you guys can watch the rest of it later, because hey, why not support these guys, right? By checking out the channel. But this is the name of the actual this is the actual name of the video. If you just want to check it out, search it up, this video, and it's this one here. All right, so let me make sure that everything is coming through clear on everywhere, and then we'll be able to continue with what we're doing here. One sec, guys. Now, like I said, as someone who's, I was in a situation a few years back where I found myself, just walking home, where I was walking home and I was attacked from behind, right? Let me just get rid of that because this just keeps going round and round. So I was attacked from behind, and I was knocked out. I had no idea what was going on. All I remember is this guy walking past me, walking towards me, probably 3 times my size. Like I'm a pretty skinny guy, right? So I'm about, like, say, I'm about 50 kgs at that point. So he's probably like about 150 kgs, easy, right? Bulky as, big dude, brown guy, right? Not very dark skin, so he's brown, light brown to me, right? So he just goes, bro, you got a lighter? I got a smoke, I said. So no, bro, I don't smoke, or something like I don't have one, and I carried on walking. I don't remember anything apart from after that. Well, the next thing I remember is that I'm lying on my back with this dude on top of me, starting to smash my head in, right. So, so what happened was that, I come to, right, right. I come to, and this guy's on top of me. His face is over my face. I'm lying across the road and onto the footpath. So half my torso, like my hip down, is on the road, right, on the Tarsiel Road, and I'm not where I was previously because basically he's dragged me around from the, like, probably another 100 meters, 150 meters around to the corner of the main road where the lights are, down to where there's no lights, right? Because I'm on a main street here. This is one of the main streets in Chicago, South Island, New Zealand, right at the bottom of New Zealand. And so we find it out. And so as I'm lying there, I wake up, like I've been concussed. I don't know how long I've been out, right? I have no clue. It's like, what's going on? All I know is this guy's on top of me, and I see fist coming towards my face. As soon as I see his fist coming towards my face, I grab for it, and I hold on, put both my hands up to try to grab it, and I grab onto his right fist and his left fist, like his wrist, right. And so I grab onto his wrist, and I'm holding on for dear life because, like I said, he's 3 times my size. And I have on a very heavy coat with my hard drives in my back because in my backpack, because at that time I just finished packing up all my gear from my school, university, whatever. Packed all my hard drives up, picked up my books, and I just finished being at a year 2, and I'm a year 3, right? My final year degree in bachelor's degree in filmmaking. At that do, and they invited me. Not many third years went because they weren't invited. I went because I always was, I was one of the guys that always sit down with them, help them, tutor them, take time out. I get paid to tutor them. All right, yeah, Tim. Definitely, I'm talking about the writer guy. I will get to him soon because I've got a whole video about the guys who actually stopped that dude from murdering Syko Stu, the wrestler, in the ring. So this is just me saying, talking about how I came to, I've been in the situation of being concussed, KO'd by someone, random, and not, and you're fighting for dear life. So I'm like there going, okay, I can't let this guy knock me out again. All right, I don't know what's going on. I just can't have him hit my face because once he starts hitting my face, it's going to start bleeding, and I'm going to be worried about the pain in my face because, like, your brain goes 100 miles an hour, right? Honestly, when you're in a situation like that, if you've ever been in a fight or flight situation, your brain's going so fast, you're not even like, you don't even know what you're thinking. All you're thinking is survival mode. And I'm thinking, and I remember saying, okay, I got to stop this guy from hitting my face, right? I have to stop this guy from hitting my face. The only thing I can do is like hold on for dear life on his wrist so he can't move it. So he's struggling with me. And not only that, my backpack's weighing me down, and I've got a heavy winter coat on. Like, it's like one of those army flight, long coats, beige, and inside it's also got a lining. If I remember right, it's got a lining of faux fur, so it's very heavy. I mean, like, it's the middle of winter. It's around December, New Zealand time. Down south, it's really cold, and so not only that, I've got my hoodie on underneath, so it's all weighing me down. So when he's realizing he can't frigging get to me and get my throw me off, like throw my hands off his wrist, he grabs onto my collar of my jacket and drags me away, right? So let me just put this on full there. So he grabs me and drags me across the street. So the Tassio Road that that I was half on, from the foot, drags me across, and there's a little, if you've ever seen like just railway tracks, they have a little wire and steel poles to stop you from going across. It's just like not really, everybody knows not to go into the railway track, so it's just like random. So in South Island in Invercargill, there's a railway track that goes right through the city, but on not on the main street, but a second street over. As you look up towards the world, right, towards America from the bottom of the world, it's on your right hand side. So there's this whole lot of warehouses, and next to that is the railway tracks, right? And so I'm looking at the way he's taking me. I'm saying, oh my goodness, he's dragging me over to the rocks, because you have these fist-sized sharp rocks, edge rocks. I'm thinking he's going to slam my head into that. He's going to knock me out. I'm dead. Here I go. And as he's trying to drag me over to there, he stops because this car, this young couple in a white car, like teenagers, under 20s, maybe early 20s, teenagers, shine the light onto us, right? Because they've just turned the corner, and they stop because I'm in the, I'm half kind of like on the road, and he's off the road onto the tracks, trying to drag me over, and they try to think, well, what the hell's going on? So they stop, right? And so they stop their car, and the light's on there, and he lets go, and I'm like, I run for dear life towards the back of the car, the passenger seat, back seat of the car on the driver's side. And I jump in and go, get me out of here, man. This dude's trying to kill me, right? And I'm like, then, what happens when you like fight or flight mode, you're stressed, and you're like, everything just, suddenly you have this relief, and I'm like bawling my eyes out because I'm like, shit, I just got saved. I'm like, I survived this situation. So I thought about that today when I was watching all these other videos pop up about what happened to, Syko Stu, right? And it's quite sad because the guy was knocked out within, for about 7 seconds, right? 7 minutes and 7 seconds, he was knocked out. The moment his head slammed onto, let me get rid of this background here. As soon as his head slammed onto the mat, I was like, okay, that's not normal. There was no protection. He did not know how it's going to, how it's supposed to hit. I mean, usually when a wrestler, if you've watched wrestling as long as I have, right, and I've watched it since I was a teenager, like when I was 15, 40, right? So because I've watched wrestling for so long, I know, and I'm still learning some part of the gimmicks and stuff, and how to fake barbed wire from ripping up your back, right, stuff like that. And so when I'm because I've been concussed about 8 times in my life, that last one where I got concussed by this dude and knocked out wasn't the last time. That was that was 2016 when I had that happen to me. So I was concussed again in about 2006. So then again, I was concussed in 2007 in a car accident. Then I was concussed again, head first onto footpath at hyper speed, running downhill, and smashed my head into a concrete footpath. And that was in 2040, around 2030. So that's, it's been 10 years since I had my last concussion, major ones. Ended up being hospitalized and everything because it was that serious. So whenever I see concussions in wrestling matches, or headshots, or slams, or German body slams, or whatever, I kind of look, my head always, my eyes always go to, okay, where's the hands for the head, right? Are they protected? Are they not? So as you guys remember, I watch AEW religiously, All Elite Wrestling religiously. So with that, I tend to, because I watch that all the time, I watch a whole lot of other indie wrestling, right? All the time. I watch about 3 matches. No, I watched a match today from some random wrestling outfit, New Breed Wrestling. Never heard of them before. It popped up, and I was like, okay, I'll watch the match. It was great. It was Pete something and Dracula Jr., right? And that was pretty cool. It was like a 10-minute match, but it was really cool. Heel great heel versus face, match. Just, short 10-minute match, great, random, good to watch, just something different in these, right? And I watch, like I said, I watched wrestling. I'm 52 now, so probably around about almost 40 years on and off, right? Used to buy the magazines, used to have the toys and whatever. And Sting is my favorite wrestler of all time, right? So one thing I don't watch at all is WWE. I just find it like that because I'm so used to watching deathmatch wrestling, hardcore wrestling matches, and also, just fun matches. I don't find WWE that fun to watch because it's just the same rant. It's like reading a Batman comic, right? It's like the same thing, same villains over and over again. So I like to get out there and watch a whole lot of indie stuff as well, like Stardom, Marigold. I was watching Marigold yesterday. Was doing some coloring. New Japan, was it AJPW? And I watch a whole lot of different channels talk about stuff, right? So I've watched little, probably about 5, 6, probably 10 different channels talk about the situation. And the more I watch, the more angry I get, because I realize what it's like to be KO'd and not come, by randomly because it was unexpected. Because this whole situation is very uncalled for and over the top, and which is why I call it attempted murder, right? Because the guy didn't know what's coming, because if he did, he would have protected his head. It was just like boom, right? So you guys can check out, you can just put down Rampage Jackson reaction videos or the videos and all that. There's a lot of people doing that, so I won't show that here. So what I do want to show is talk about these guys, right? These are guys that stopped. This guy here is the guy that stopped this from the murder from happening.
Welcome to episode 34 of the Scaling Up podcast. A very impromptu, last-second emergency episode. We've got Doug and Ian here from our Pred Catches. You guys might recognize them. And we actually wanted to do an episode where we would introduce them so you guys could kind of, learn more about them. But that is not the reason we are here today. We are here today actually because Doug has been all over the news today over something that's going super viral right now. Because for those of you guys that haven't heard, Rampage Jackson, Rampage Jackson's son, tried to kill a man yesterday, and Doug was actually the one who pretty much stepped in and saved them. So we're gonna actually play a few clips first of everything that happened. And last thing I want to say for our viewers, for those of you guys that don't know, I actually trained at the same school 11 years ago, a long time ago. I know Syko Stu personally. And so to get started with it, what actually happened to Stu? How bad are his injuries?
Broken facial bones is from what I'm hearing. Missing teeth. Has no recollection of what happened. Incoherent. And then even from the people closest to it now that I'm disassociating with, they won't even put up the full story. Stu's pretty fucked up. I'll put it this way. What happened yesterday is he choked on his own blood.
On his own teeth, I heard.
Yeah, teeth and blood.
And he lost all of his teeth, right?
A lot of them, yeah. Broken facial bones. He was out on the slam, and then the guy had made contact multiple times. I remember seeing that kind of...
So here's the thing. Does that sound like a wrestling match? A wrestling spot? If you've ever seen a wrestling match, do you ever see like someone, like I said, I've watched a lot of death wrestling matches and hardcore matches. I've watched matches with like glass pane, right? Barbed wire, as I mentioned earlier. I've watched with forks, right? I shouldn't say it's right so many times, but I've watched with forks being, going across the forehead and stuff, because those are spots. Like wrestling is in professional wrestling. That's why they call it professional, not just wrestling. It's scripted as much as like 90%, 99% scripted show. I mean, you can watch the WWE, Netflix, doco, whatever, and they'll show you exactly what happens. You see, I saw bits of the clip. I haven't actually seen the entire thing, but the clips that I watched, you see, what's her name? Who said Aussie? Rhea Ripley, right? Before she goes, she's out the side in the hall calling out her spots. okay, they're going to come at me like this, then I'm going to swing, and there's going to be I'm going to give them a clothesline, and she's going to fall back, then I'm going to go in, and I'm going to grab her arm, twist, and then this, over and over, rehearsing, just like I do, and I did, I should say, when I was stage acting. Right, I would go, yeah, okay, this is when I say this, I'll walk over to this, and I say this, and the response will be this, then I will say this. It's acting, right? That's what we mean by scripted, right? However, that 1%, things can go wrong in. This wasn't that 1% that things can go wrong in. This was the whole thing that could go wrong in. Because it wasn't, they say about like how there was going to be a spot. Nobody said what the spot was. The wrestler didn't even know there was going to be a spot. Because this was all them, it was all one-sided. And so Syko Stu, who got beaten up, who nearly got murdered, didn't have a clue as to what's going on. He thought it was all honky-dory, right? He was out there, he had apologized because the guy, Rampage Jackson, was basically going, oh, well, because it was supposed to be like a spot, because he turns up with this camera and this, and Syko Stu just, gimmicks a can onto his head, which is gimmicking, which is basically you squash it to make that sound like it's synced, and then you just touch his head, right? And even when I saw that, I was like, dude, he just gimmicked the can. Because I've seen it so many times because, it's just the way things are. It's like when you're using a glass pane and stuff, a lot of times they will use like, what is it called? Sugar crystals, right? It's like a special, same thing that they use in movies, right? Where it's crystallized sugar. So it breaks, so it doesn't it doesn't do damage the way, a normal glass would do, like cut you right through. Like my hand's been through glass, so I know what it's like. That's why my right wrist and I can't draw properly. So I know what it's like to be cut with glass, and it's like, it's not this, because otherwise people wouldn't be doing it. If wrestlers wouldn't be doing it if it's the danger that aspect there. I watched Maven's video, and Maven's a piece of shit at the moment over this as well. So is what's his name, RBD, and so is Mark Henry. They're all freaking grabbing the bag, right? Trying to side on with Rampage to protect the son. And now Mark Henry's getting all racist. It's all about racism, bro. It's because he's black. That's why everyone's no. The guy tried to kill a man in a wrestling ring, right? People get fired for just hitting somebody wrongly in the head or something like that. People can get concussed because that's why people, there's a reason why people protect their head and stuff. And the guy was knocked out even before the punches started wailing on him. It was 23 punches all up on his face. Dude was gurgling on his blood, right? He's KO'd, right? Choking on his blood and on his teeth.
In shock, and then I just went. Side of that running in, there was other people that could have got involved that I made eye contact with, but they just stayed by the stage. Let me put it this way. I'm sorry to Stu that the people that said that they were your friends let this happen.
So how did you end up being involved? Because from what I understand, you weren't part of that match, that segment. How did you end up out there in the middle of the ring during this match?
I just got done with my match. I was blown up, took the heat, did the shit. Then I get a whisper by somebody, hey, something is not right. I might need you to go out there and check a scenario. This guy's going to do a spot. I'm like, when does the spot happen? Oh, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. Well, you want to let me know, but like, you're not telling me when the cue is, when.
See, this is what I found really, really bad. Like I said, it's scripted, right? Wrestling is scripted. So, this is what's going to happen when you go in. He's going to do it with a chair, or he's going to come in there with a barbed wire bat, right? Or there's going to be a table spot. This is how we're going to end it. He's going to slam it on the table, bring the tables, whatever you have. But he's been told that you just be up there. For we don't know what's going to go on, because they don't know what he's going to do, because the guy's a psycho. The whole situation. I mean, I'm not talking about Syko Stu. I'm talking about Rampage Jackson. The guy's a psycho. He's got no control, no faculty control, and he's basically. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking about what's that guy's name? Will Smith, right? No control. He goes on a stage and hits someone for real, just like freaking Will Smith. But Will Smith hit someone, on the stage, and you see how just like that. How many people backed Will Smith? How many people were like, "Oh, he did nothing wrong," it was just spooning. It's like, dude, the guy is a comedian doing his job. Right? You came out from the audience for no reason to hit him. You could have laughed it off, oh no, and by the way, your wife is bald, right? I'm bald. It's just the way life is. You either roll with it, or you don't, you choose how to react. And the guy had already apologized 3 times before even this happened. But there's another thing. The guy also got gaslit into from his chat, because the dude was live streaming on Kick, right, to his fans, which is 12-year-old kids probably, right? And to, hey, yeah, you man up, bro. And I've been gaslit into doing that when I was in high school, so I don't easily get gaslit into doing things anymore as an adult, right? I left all that shit at high school. When you get into fights at school, you have this, you have your mates going, oh, go on, do this and do that. Yeah, you can't let him speak to you or that. It's like, but I have nothing to do with this. Like, there's no reason for me to react this way. Oh no, bro, you can't. No, you're a pussy if you don't. It's like that sort of thing. So it just feels like this is what was happening with him, and rather than the guy, going, oh, dude's already apologized, man. He thought we were doing a spot. Nobody told him we weren't, and so he apologized. That's cool. But no. See, he's son of Rampage Jackson, tough man, right? So MMA fighter. So you can't let his dad down. You gotta, you can't feel like that. And this is what the whole gaslighting brain does to you, right? Your friends are people around you gaslighting you, your chat's gaslighting you, and you're also thinking, oh, what's going to happen when I get home and Dad's going to say something up? It's all that bullshit. And this is where, I just think it's just stupidity that how people, do this thing with live streaming, like this whole live their life on live streaming and on camera 24/7. Because it makes them feel like they're invincible, that they have to act a certain way. That's why I try not to be live streaming unless I'm working, or if I've got something to say about something, because it's just sometimes it becomes more than what it should be, which is basically it's just connecting with your audience or whatever you want to do for whatever reason, or to do work, or to showcase stuff. But it's going to where people live for that, for that fame, right? And because everything you're doing is online, you're on. What is it called? You're on all the time, right? Like when you're acting, when you're on the stage, you're on. Everything is an act, right? So these guys, their whole life's on stage and it's on in front of the camera, so they have to behave a certain way. And it's sad to see how. And this is why I hate like live streaming, like streamers who do stuff in the roads and stuff on the street in cities around people. How they go and prank people, because people have been shot, right? People have been run over, but these guys they live for that so much that the next buzz or the next super chat, that they'll do more and more outrageous things to get famous. And this modern IRL, in real life, web live streaming thing, it's just making people go insane over being famous. It's like the whole thing where, as soon as girls turn 18, they're starting OnlyFans or webcamming nudes. It's the same thing. It's like, with guys, it's like, okay, I'm gonna live stream to get famous, man. I want to get my super chats. I'm gonna, and then here's the thing about that is that when you build up a channel, then you get worried about losing that ad revenue, right? Or not being able to get that super chat. And so now it's about the money. And so this for him here is basically about his so-called respect. His honor has been hurt because the guy apologized 3 times. Right? 3 freaking times. He said, I didn't realize you weren't, part of this thing. You turn up here with the freaking camera, and I thought, you're going to be, at the back with us while we're just hanging out, right? Suppose, and so I thought it was a spot. Well, I'm sorry, wrong. Okay, let's be, shake hands and let's forget it, right? I mean, the guy didn't even bleed. The guy didn't get knocked out, right? Roger didn't get hurt. He's just like, oh yeah, it didn't even hurt, man. But no, then he gets list. You know, he goes out trying to be all tough to his live stream, you know, viewers and whatever.
Is the spot supposed to happen? You're just going to let me know just in case? All right, so I'm stuck waiting for this cue. I walk out to somebody with the radio. I said, hey, talk to the back. When do you guys want me to go? What's happening? I was informed about the beer can incident. Actually, shortly before that, they told me that they, you know, made up, shook hands, hugged it out multiple times. So it was going to be fine, but they just want to make sure. I talked to the person out front with the radio. I walk back to the ring. I see the slam. I see the first punch, second punch. And by then I'm at people in front of me and I just start moving. I kind of wish I would have just sprung on like the slam. So that's where I'm at. I mean, honestly, there's nothing worse than you watch somebody you care about. He's a veteran. He's me. And these are people who are supposed to love him. And I'm the only one on the outskirts to be told to watch this apparently. And then I'm in there. And I'm battling, I'm doing whatever, trying to like work this. And I'm telling the guy to calm down. And now he's trying to fight me. It's all fucked, you know, like there's.
So them telling you to watch this and get involved, if this was supposed to be an angle, it kind of doesn't make any sense because you have nothing to do with their storyline or whatever. It seems like they kind of wanted you there just because you're the only one who can shoot, which in wrestling means for real fight, right?
It felt like it, like how you'd use a dog. Like, hey, we'll send our bitch to go do this.
But the fact that they told you to watch out and, you know, be ready, and the fact that this had nothing to do with any of the storylines kind of shows that this was premeditated, right?
I think the premeditation part comes on the side of AJ Mana. You brought somebody that was volatile that you knew had issues.
So real quick, that's the friend of Raja who brought him to the event.
That's the small calf, small ass chicken leg.
Yeah, so this dude here, right? This is the guy that was talking about how, you know, my friend's gaslighting me. This is the dude here who was gaslighting this dude continuously. Hold on, let me just for that. We went through that too fast. This guy should also be arrested and think for what is it like? You know, when like someone does it with you, you know. It's not gonna work for me.
Ring, deleting him to
punches on him. You pull him off, and then he tried to go at you. So that was he trying to do with any of the storylines? Kind of shows that this was premeditated, right?
I think the premeditation part comes on the side of AJ Mana. You brought somebody that was volatile that you knew had issues.
So real quick, that's the friend.
This dude. There you go. It's a cowboy. So he brought this dude on, and he's out there going, "Oh, you do the spot. You give him a receipt, bro. You give him a receipt." And I'm like, why would you be calling for a receipt when there was nothing to it and the apologies were made and they shook hands and they hugged it out prior to all this? But this dude wants to, you know, he should be up on charges as well, right? Assisting, you know, calling for this. It's like I was thinking like when I was you know, in my 20s, and I received some stolen goods, and so I had to do 40 hours community service for receiving, right? So even though I didn't rob you know, it was a whole lot of different situations. It wasn't anything major. It was just, you know, my friend got robbed from his like people had stolen money, his flatmates had stolen money from him. So he went and grabbed his one of the person's stereos and said, "Hey, give me $50 for the stereo, and I'll give you the stereo." I go, "Okay." And then I found out, okay, well, great. So he got in trouble. I got snagged in with it, and that's what I think this dude did. Just like me, this dude should get snagged with this as well.
Of Raja, who brought him
AJ Mine.
To the
That's the small calf, small ass chicken legs bitch with the cowboy hat.
So this fight, whatever you want to call it, Raja Jackson,
Attempted murder.
right? This attempted murder. He landed like 20 something punches on him.
23
punches on him.
23, like I said earlier, right? 23 punches on a guy who's knocked out. And so here's the thing. So when I was watching that, I was also, like I said, almost 40 years of watching wrestling matches from so many different, outfits, from death match to clean, whimsical clown matches, right? However, I always kind of pay attention to the rest, to the referees now, to the refs in the ring. What are they doing? What's their movements? Because I'm trying to recognize what movements they do to figure out what hand signals they give, so I know what spot's going to be called, right? And I'm like, because they do random movements, you don't have a clue, but the wrestlers, they know exactly what's happening, right? They know exactly what is being asked for. So whatever hand movements they're doing, whatever head shakes they're doing, whatever they're doing, the ref's always on the go with his eyes on the wrestlers. However, if you notice with the clips, the ref does not straight away go to Syko Stu and see if he's okay when his head slams into the, when he gets power slammed, right? Back slammed into the mat, and his head pops up, and he's just lying there. Usually, the first thing the ref does is go to him, and they grab their hands, right? They grab their fingers, and there's a signal they give. The wrestler has to give in return to say, yes, I'm okay, right? They grab it. If they don't grab it, I think it's that one. I might be wrong. It's either or, right? If they grab it, then that means they're right. If they don't grab it, that means they're hurt. As soon as that happens, the hand signal, you're watching that in WWE, the cross arms, right? The cross hands, the X, between the right and the left wrists, over the top of each other, and they'll put it over their heads. So everybody knows that someone's hurt, that this is not a work. The ref isn't there. Because within seconds, like 1 second even, right? Roger's on the guy, slamming him into his face, right? I mean, like into his mouth, into his teeth, into his head. He comes up all bloody, 23 punches to the face. And I'm like, remember at the start I said how I was knocked out and I had to, I had to defend myself when I woke up, when I came to from the concussion. That the only thing I could think of was like, I got to save myself from being hit in the face. Even me, who's never been in a volatile, match or fight or anything like that, knew that I had to protect my head. Right? And this is like 20 years ago. Is it 2006? Yeah, 19 years ago, right? So, and the other thing is that Rampage Jackson has been trained to be an MMA fighter. But he's a Nepo baby, right? And Nepo babies have a lot of ego and like, oh, I got to live up to this. I got to live up to that. I got my dad's, such and such. I love being a normal person. I love being a person without any what is it called? Exterior trash laid on me, right? I'm just me, right? I just come from a family of just nobodies, right? I would say, like in the grand scheme of things, I'm not a famous person. We're not, such and such, right? The only fame I have is nothing, and I wouldn't want that sort of fame either, because with that comes a lot of trash comes along with it. That's why you see a lot of Nepo babies always losing it, shit, and they're always crying about how they've been treated bad while they drive around in the Lamborghinis or they live in like $1,000 mansions and stuff, and they always complain about this and that. And you go, dude, I had to figure out how I was going to pay my bills to eat when I was at university, and I screwed up and I forgot to pay a bill, or I spent too much. People came over, we spent too much on power that week, whatever the case, right? And I'm like, now I've got to pick freaking mold off my bread to eat bread, right? These guys they don't go through that trouble, right? They got to worry about, oh, I was in this magazine and the photo was not the right thing of that, right? But yeah, normal people have to worry about other shit. So it's it's I would never wish to be famous, man, because the stress would be just enough to
pull him off, and then he tried to go at you. So that was he trying to continue beating him even further?
I think the culmination between his dad picking on him and all his daddy issues came out and all the shit that AJ gassed up into his head. Because let me put it this way. I don't like Raja. I think Raja's a shit person for what he did. But I think AJ's a bigger shit person for gassing him up to be in that fucking ring, to leading him to ruin his own fucking life, to hurt somebody that AJ also has a fucking problem with. You can't fucking tell me that's not, I don't believe in coincidence.
He was basically trying to put the blood on someone else's hands.
Exactly, because he's not going to do it himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the few little backyard fights he fucking got in where he got beat the fuck up, and then you got somebody that's a real fighter, trained by somebody that's one of the greatest of all time, and then you had him do your dirty work. He ruined two people's lives.
So what happened when you got involved with Raja? Why did he want to keep going? Well, I know his chat was like gassing him up too, leading up to it, which we've talked about.
Another reason why live streaming is toxic.
Yeah.
Just goes to show.
When you're a man, you're in control of your life. If you do things for other men, you're their bitch. You are not a man.
Basically
You're a
what live
puppet.
streamers are.
Doug, so what happened when you and him squared off?
I just went in there to stop it first, you know, because I was kind of in shock. I saw Stu. I saw the punches. It felt like slow motion. I'm looking around. I'm looking at Stu's friends staring at me, not running in. I'm only running in. Somebody fucking pinned Stu after he almost got beat to death. People are so chicken shit that they don't understand violence. They don't understand what's going on. They don't want to partake in anything. They weren't willing to save their friend. They would rather worry about their own image, their self, their master, this. Sometimes the world stops. Sometimes the world stops. You could go to the store one day, be shopping for fucking groceries, and if you see an old lady get beat up and fucking robbed, you have to do something. Sometimes the world stops. So
I've had to do that twice. Honestly, my little skinny ass had to do that twice. First time was during it's like a huge fight, because I was in my mid-20s, and a bunch of teenagers were basically ganging up on this one kid, and this married kid, and it was like I think it was like after a school, in America you guys call it proms, we call it balls here in New Zealand, right? It was just after a high school ball. It was males and females, high school, because it's it's a city here we live, and this school's just up the road from this, couple blocks up from the city, and so we were in town that night. It was a Friday night, and all I see is there's all these guys ganging up on this one kid, and I'm thinking, wait, what's going on? So I just rush in. I grab on the kid. It's like, wait, what's going on, dude? Because they're trying to beat me up. It's like, you just stay with me, and I'm in the middle of it. There's people right all around us. Girls, guys, all ages, right? Teenagers, right? High school kids. And I'm like, just stay with me and we'll come in, I'll just make sure, because I'm taller than everybody else there, like by a foot. Because they all, I'm in I'm 25 or 25, maybe 27. And so I just hold on to him. Like, just come on, bro. You just hold on to me. It'll be fine. We'll just calm it down. And then I think everybody calmed down. Well, it took about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour. Everybody calmed down, walked away, realizing that he was under my protection. Not that they cared, that, in the sense of, it was just a shock of them, I think, realizing that someone would come and protect them at that time. Right? That someone would actually side with them against all of them when we were clearly outnumbered, right? And so, but the fact that I would, step in there on his side made them think twice and just go, oh yeah, this isn't worth it, man. He's an old fellow. There's no point trying to mess with that, because like I said, I'm about 10 years at that point older than them. These like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. And so, it just seems, the thing is that this modern society has taught people not to step in and help people, because everybody's a camera and everybody's trying to like play, kind of like have lost their sense of community. They've lost the idea of like, hey, I'm love thy neighbor, right? Protect thy neighbor, right? If you see something wrong being done, you stop someone from, you step in. But the thing is now people just don't do that anymore because of the fear of being seen to be doing the wrong. And a lot of times, yeah, people have, cause people trouble when people have been doing, were in the right. My dad and my uncle got caught in the middle of trying to stop a domestic, and then the lady turned on and said they came in and did started stuff with him. I'm like, your husband, like your partner, was beating you up on the side of the road, but then when the cops come, you turn on my dad and my uncle. It's like, what? And he stopped in front of our friggin' store, right? So it's on our doorstep. We can't they can't turn their eyes away and just pretend it's not going. I mean, getting beaten up. But that's the thing, that because of people do that, people no longer want to help. They never, they don't care about their neighbors anymore because their neighbors turn on them sometimes. And if it happens enough times, people just won't care at all. And you'll end up dead. And yeah, well, if I stepped in, that could be me being murdered, right? But I don't want to be in this situation. I just want where I'm, if I'm to lose my life, then I'm to lose my life. But I don't want to be the chicken shit who watches something bad happen and not step in. And this is what was really sad about this, that so many people saw it and they did not step in.
World stops. You could go to the store one day, be shopping for fucking groceries, and if you see an old lady get beat up and fucking robbed, you have to do something. Sometimes the world stops. So these fucking people are sitting in the fucking ring watching a man get beat to death that they call the fucking friend. The people in the back are fucking telling me, hey, can you go out there and make sure nothing bad happens? So now I got all this responsibility. But at the same time, if I'm AJ Mana, if I'm the people that told me to go out there, if that's the person I brought, or I know this whole situation is going on, I'd be right at the fucking ring. If somebody told me that Ian had the possibility of having a fucking fingernail being put out of place because somebody might be a little off in the ring, you think I would take a fucking chance of my friend getting hurt? I'd be in the fucking corner of the ring on the very side in the front fucking row. You couldn't move me from the fucking spot. I'd run the whole fucking show. Fuck all of you. That's my friend. That's my family. That's somebody who means more to me than anything in the world. I would never let something can touch him. I would die before something hurts my family. And all the people that call him family, where the fuck were they? And then when we're in the fucking ring and I'm breaking it up and he shoots a fucking double leg on me, by the way, work a better fucking double leg, you fucking prick. And then I'm telling you to fucking calm down. I'm not even fucking fighting. I'm not even being fucking hostile. Then you're trying to fucking work and get lower, do this, change positions, and I'm over here having to swim with you, all this other shit. And then you fucking punch me in the eye after we're breaking it up, you fucking loser. That's why you got fucking headbutt, and that's why I fucking punch you, and you're fucking lucky I was tired from the match before this. What kind of fucking person are you? You fucking low-life fucking clown. You want fucking clout, so you beat up a guy that's fucking half unconscious. You punch a guy that's trying to break up a fight and not even trying to fight you. I wasn't even trying to fucking hurt you. The fuck is wrong with you?
So do you think he wanted to continue beating up Stu?
I think he would have killed him.
If you didn't stop it, right?
I promise you he would have killed him.
Yep.
He would have killed me if he would have got the best of me.
100%.
If he would have took my legs out from under me like he was trying to, he was going to do the same thing to me that he did to Stu. Clearly, you watched the stream when he's walking away. I'm tired of people fucking with me. I don't care how many times you've been fingered in your life, bro. I don't give a fuck. If you got to...
Exactly. Nobody gives a shit what's going on in your life, right? Everybody gives a shit when you put that on somebody else. Any given day, nobody cares what's going on in your life. The only person that should care about you is you and your family, right? Or your friends. That's how it is. The world moves on. The world's got its own problems, and they don't need your problems being in their, making their life, worse. This is what, like I said, I don't like live streamers, IRL, real live streams. I do not. I despise them, to be honest. I think they're like the scum of the earth. I just don't. I don't care whether they do good or bad. It doesn't matter. I just don't like them. I just think that all they're concerned about is being about fame. Oh, I'm going to use this fame to do things. There's a billion other things you can do to, with your fame, rather than ruining other people's lives. just go live your life elsewhere and quietly, and leave the public, leave people alone. Right? Just go do your own shit somewhere in the corner of the world, in your own backyard. Just leave other people alone. Let them get on with their lives. Let them carry on with their, with whatever problems they got to deal with, because everybody's dealing with shit. Any given day, somebody's got it worse than you have, or 100% worse than I have, right? And I deal with it a lot because of my injuries and stuff. But any given day, there's more people, worse people off than I am anywhere around the world, right? There are people who basically are wondering how they're going to feed their family right now, let alone themselves around the world. The next day, the next month, the next year, they're all wondering, how do I, don't have a job? How do I feed my family? I look, and this is the thing about like why you see so many, poor countries now, girls turning 18 and straight away onto OnlyFans, right? Because they're like, well, this is the only way I can think of getting my family out of poverty. Right? And I go, man, that's the fact you got to sell yourself that way. It's got to be bad, right? But that's why I think, I'm kind of like, grab your bag while you can, because one day it's the bag's not going to be there. By that I mean money bag, right? And I think it's just said that like people are now willing to go around just to live their life in front of the camera, 24/7, right? Thing is going to run out of ideas soon, so the next thing they go is, well, whatever makes me money is what I'm going to do, which is at this point is now people going how to prank other people, how to be nasty towards other people, and because people like watching drama, right? So let's be more nasty. I mean, it's all like, that's why Trashcast is doing what it's doing. Why it makes so much money, because people like watching EVS being so nasty, right? It's because he's just a nasty person, and so he just he's just being himself, which is being nasty, and so people love that drama, and so you see all this stuff being done by him towards other people every friggin' day on every friggin' live stream he's ever on. And after a while, it just gets tiring watching that clown, just to be nasty all the time. It's going to be like, the whole idea of blood sports is just, it's just so, what do you call it? It's just gross, to be honest. I think it's just gross that, people want to bring everybody else's problems into the light, like it's their place to make it something, to publicize other people's life and to ruin other people's life that's got nothing with them, especially when they bring in family and shit. It's so gross. Families like that don't even have anything to do online. They can bring them on. It's like, just to get ahead. People are like, humanity, like it's so evil in the sense that, people go, we're not really evil. It's like, yeah, we are. We're born evil, right? It's only through society and learning and experience that we become better, right? That we know what's right and what's wrong. We get taught what's right and what's wrong. But we're very much born evil, right? The ultimate sin, right? The original sin type thing. We're born with sin and then we get better. We become, do good and so on. But man, I have seen such vile humanity at its worst in my life, and experienced it as well as seen other people as well, around the world and through things I've researched and whatever. But it's just, yeah, this thing just makes me so angry that like they would all stand by and watch an old man, because he's Syko Stu's about in his 50s, right? So he's a military veteran. He's got PTSD from the military as being a soldier and stuff, and so he uses scripted wrestling as part of his stress thing. Like, I mean, for me, a lot of times I'd use drawing for my stress thing, my stress levels, right? You could say my own trauma and shit, because it helps me deal with shit that to get my expressions out, whatever you got to do, emotions out, right? Because otherwise I would become just like Raja, an a-hole, putting all my shit on everybody else, right? Rather than dealing with it myself and learning how to deal with it. And for and Syko Stu, for him, it was wrestling. It was a way for him to get up there, do a bit of acting, put on these spots, entertain people, and just for that, for that 15, 20 minutes, whatever matches he has, is to just be outside of himself and not be in his own head, which is what a lot of people, artists, creative people do to escape reality, right? For that little bit, to get that emotion of it, stepping outside of ourselves. I mean, I use writing to do that because it's a really cool way to create a way to just be outside of myself. Look, here I am, drawing this, or coming up with this character, saying this thing, having fun at it, playing God for a little bit, as a creative person, but you've got someone vile who's an Evo baby like Rampage Jackson, basically wanting to kill a person in the ring because, if he did it on a street, he'd get arrested. So he's using, basically using, the ring as his place to let all his anger out, rather than, do a bit of friggin' acting or whatever he wants to do, right? Just just play along for a little bit, but no, he's got to attempt to kill someone instead. And that dude, AJ Mana, man, what a clown show, right? What a clown show. Gaslighting a 25-year-old dude, a Nepo baby, to basically kill a man. Because obviously then he knew that he probably knew what that clown's like. So, Raja the clown's like. So that's why they got this dude here to jump in, Doug to jump, be on the site. Because they knew he was going to lose it. Otherwise, why would you ask for that? Go, no, it's a spot that we find. You don't have to worry about being there. No, we good. He's going to do this, then he's going to do this, then he's going to do this. Right? Because that's how it's supposed to go. But no, they gotta, he's gonna make sure somebody gets hurt for real because, hey, you don't like that guy.
A problem with the world and the people around you. Change the people around you. Change it up a little bit. Go to therapy. Get some help. Don't take it out on everybody else. And then you want to train by one of the best fighters to ever live, your father. Use his clout. Use his knowledge. And then you want to hurt people that don't train like that. You're a bully. You're a bitch. Fuck you. Everybody who taught you that.
So after all this happened, as far as the show, like, did the show just continue? Like, how did Stu get out of the ring? I assume it was stopped and paramedics came. Like, what actually happened?
He was given CPR. He was choking on his fucking blood. The paramedics came. I rolled out. Once I realized that my fucking blood was leaking because he caught me right in the fucking goddamn orbital bone, I rolled out the ring to go fucking fight that guy. I said, him, I'm coming. And then everyone's holding me back.
And he had already ran out of there.
Already gone. And then the only person who fucking met him is a fucking crackhead with fucking face paint who's fucking begging for fucking clout for the fucking internet. Man, fuck that whole fucking night. There couldn't be anything more mismanaged in my fucking life than I saw that night.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just trying to get a better understanding of how the show went on. Who took him out of the ring, first of all?
Stu left by paramedics in his own blood, choking. A veteran, a war veteran.
Was he stretchered out of the
Yes,
show?
he was a load and go criteria.
After that, did the show just continue as
No.
if nothing happened?
There was kids crying. There was women and children upset. The little girl, Sophia, in my tag team, she saw the whole fucking thing. And as an adult, that's my job to, is to protect everybody. And I fell really short. I talked to her dad. She said she saw everything. She tried to get out of the car, come back, and see if Stu was going to be okay. And it's fucked up. You have kids at the show, you have families at the show. We're supposed to be here for a good time. And why I keep bringing up that fucking asshole with the stupid cowboy hat? Because you brought somebody that was volatile. You knew he was volatile. You set him up. You had him do your dirty work at a show where everybody's doing this for entertainment. And you wanted to do that? What a fucking prick. Both of those fucking people, fuck everybody involved with that person. And here's my thing about the Rogers situation. His dad is going to be hurting. His family's going to be hurting because of the trauma with the fucking son doing.
Yeah, so about that, about his dad and stuff, right, been hurting. So, dude, on YouTube, X, right, caught Rampage outside, walking. I think it might have been just police station or something. I'm not sure what it was. So Rampage basically said, "Hey, Mr. Jackson, can you give us a minute to tell us what's going on? And situation was is really bad and stuff." And then Rampage, we got a whole of racist people, saying, sending us death threats and stuff. And I'm like, receipts, bro. If you want to turn this into a race thing, then fine, grift that fucking race thing. Otherwise, own up to the fact that you raised a fucking shit kid who watched you grow up beating up people, and you never told him that, well, this is what you do when you get in a situation like this, right? Or don't be an asshole when someone's already apologized to you and a mistake was made. That's bad parenting, right? It's like the first rule most parents tell their kids, when someone's on the ground, you don't go and hit them over and over. That's the first rule. That's what I got taught. Don't hit a girl, and don't jump on someone when they're already out cold on the ground, or they're on the ground, right? While they're standing up, fair game. When they're down, just leave them. I did, however, one time during a wrestling, fight, I did drop a knee on this guy because he was fucking clowning on me so much, right? It was just trying to piss me off so much. I just went down hard on his knee on his chest. So he stopped breathing for a bit. Well, I had trouble breathing because, and that's when I was like 16, 17, right? Not in my 20s. And the other thing you learn is that you don't put your hand on somebody, when they're not looking at you, right? You don't hit them in the back of the head because they can't defend themselves. But yeah, so obviously, Mr. Jackson, Rampage, didn't bring up his kid right. Right? And now, he's going to be hurting. The family's going to be suffering because of his duties as a father were inept. But, most Nepo babies turn out that way because that's what happens. They don't spend enough time at home raising the kids. They don't spend, time talking and dealing with stuff. They leave it all up to the parent, to the mother. And when do you know that mothers discipline kids the right way, right? Because that's the job of the man in the family, right? I have seen so many kids raised by just a solo mom that have always turned out wrong, right? Majority of the time they've turned out wrong. Now, that doesn't mean all of them are bad. There's some great solo moms, right? But there's a reason why parents and not parent is a good thing, right? It's proven to be a worthwhile thing to have to, and sometimes, you don't want two of them in the house because sometimes one of them is really violent and volatile, right? It can be both a male and a female, by the way, or mom and dad, right? It's not just always a male who's volatile. Seen that as well. So, yeah, so basically, dudes' lives are ruined. Parents, are going to be facing all these media for whatever. And the other guy who gaslit the dude, AJ Mana, clown, should be in trouble just as much. And by the way, Stu's family should sue the hell out of Rampage and Knox Wrestling and also AJ Mana. Because you guys in America do, you guys have sue people, right? So you can do that. Here we, there's different ways we do stuff in New Zealand. It's very different. But yeah, man, all around shit show. Thanks to an a-hole who couldn't manage his own emotions, even though it had been apologized, hugged it out, right? And also another dude who wanted that bag, wanted his name in the, with in the Rampage Jackson payroll kind of thing, right? Or the Rampage Jackson payroll, because people do that nowadays, right? People do that all the time, trying to side up with the, with the person who's got the money. You see that with friggin', you see that with China and Triple H. Triple H basically dropping China, right, and going out with Sharon. No, I can't remember her name. McMahon's daughter, right? And so, he basically just sold her out and ruined her life, helped ruin her life. But hey, he got his bag, right? He's now a billionaire, right? Or on the way to being a billionaire. But yeah, because people will do insidious things, man, for that money, for that moolah, right? And it's just sad. It's like when you make, it's not. People get it confused, right? Money isn't the problem. It's the love of money is the problem, right? People go, money's bad, money's this, money's that. It's like no, the love of money's bad. Nowhere does it say that money's bad in the Bible, right? Because everybody was talking about how, Jesus said money's bad, No, it's the love of money's bad. We will sell out your own family for money, right? You sell out your friends. You sell out your homies, You sell out your loved ones. Sell out your family for money. I mean, look at all the people that are doing this on, like I said, online stuff with the internet, with live streaming and stuff. It's not. It's that fame and money, because fame brings money, right? And so people have, chased that bag, and they use the fame to get it. Greed, man, greed. It's just it's crazy. It's just for the love of money, people will do such crazy things. Now, I'm working here. What was the other talk I was in? See what I'm talking about today. Let me just find out where that is. So I'm going to leave that, with, like I said earlier on, that I would, excuse me, that I'll only play a bit of that, and that's all I could stomach, man. I mean, not stomach, but I mean, that's all, because I think I've done it. Hold on. supposed to go. I know what I'm supposed to be talking about, right? Yes. Right, because there was another subject I was supposed to cover. I can hear myself laughing when I'm opening up the screen. So, oh yeah. And there is Elasma put a pretty cool little clip out today. I mean, not clip, short. Spelled his name wrong. Elasma, show band. Okay, so do check this out. I thought it was a really good response, and it's about John Talks. I had to go and check and find out where, like, if I subscribed to him, so I could unsubscribe from John Talks, and I found out I wasn't actually subscribed to him. So we're just let's get to the name. So here we go. So this is the name of the video. And the links in the chat for that. So it's John Talks, and a good art takes time. Talking point debunked. So I'm not going to play that because I need to get some work done, right? So there's this whole idea, like everybody that jumps onto the whole Ethan Van Sciver and Comicsgate side, it's all about good art takes time. Right? I watch them do this a lot. They're all sweet for Comicsgate, for Ethan especially, because he's their messiah, right? He is their megalomaniac leader, dictator, communist, ZZ Pink, right? That sort of person. And they're all kind of, John Jones was the guy that led all those people in Guyana to take the Kool-Aid, right? The poison Kool-Aid, willingly. Oops, wrong place to look like. On that level. And so this whole idea that good art takes time, sure. But a comic is only, so many pages. And usually on comics, right, you can work with teams. Sorry about that noise. Sounds like farting, but it's my hand moving across, my palm moving across the screen here on the Cintiq. And hold on, I'm just gonna have to do it. There you go. Erase it just enough to make it work. And so it's nothing more than an excuse, right? This really is. It's just nothing more than an excuse. And because if you're a professional, and if you watch the video, and I do recommend you watch the short clip. I mean, not short video, sorry. How long is that? Yeah, it's only 10 minutes long. That's why I said short clip. Yeah, it's only 10 minutes, and he covers it so well. Lesman covers it so well. Because I remember, because my favorite comics are from John Byrne and Chris Claremont. That 2-year run they did, or whatever, however long that was with X-Men. And those guys were putting out, 12 issues a year. And pencils, writing, co-writing, whatever. Just one of the best sort of teams that I've seen, and they work so hard to put out some great work. That's why we hold, a lot of us hold that era in such high regard when it comes to to Marvel Comics. I mean, everybody always mentions it. That's when I got into when I got into Marvel Comics, was in that era, and that's why that's what made me love the mutants. I bought everything, and I've mentioned this before, that I just watch, not just watch, but just buy everything mutant because of that. There we go. That's the clean up job here. And if you're a full-time artist or writer, it doesn't take that much time to do the artwork. Really doesn't. Because if you've spent 20 years, right, as a professional, and as I've proven by my own friend, when we did a video there, there's 4 issues came out in 2 years. He did it himself. He wrote it himself. He inked it himself, right? He did the covers himself. He did special packs. He did box sets. He did pinups. He did stickers, right? All in 4 issues in 4 years, all by himself. Then he also paid for the printing for himself, right? And because he was able to, do that. That for me, I kind of hold it at a high standard, right? When it comes to as a professional artist, as a standard, not as because it means that. And by the way, he did that while he was working full time, helping me. Actually, no, in the last 2 years he wasn't, because I haven't, I stopped doing the conventions in the last 2 years. But he would help me with with art and stuff like that. He'd help with editing and stuff. I'd send him like, hey, can you read this? Can you do the editing on this and see if my if the stories gel, if there's any spelling mistakes, see if there's something I'm not seeing, stuff like that's there, that errors that are there that I'm not seeing, right? Because you want people to check out your work, no matter how smart you think you are, or how many years you've been doing it, because everybody's got to have an editor at some point when you're doing professional work. Or, sending someone, hey, can you review this? Look for my mistakes or whatever, while you're doing that. Or, something else, whatever. I mean, not review copies aren't supposed to have mistakes in it, but like sending it to your friends, like, can you read over this? Can you check? Just want to make sure that when this goes out into print, I don't have a whole lot of freaking spelling errors so that people can laugh at me, right? And laugh at my artists, or or my publisher, because I got some errors in my books. Because the buck stops with me, right? So I got to make sure that all the work's done, and so nobody's to blame but me. If there's anything afterwards. But if you're professional, well, you're trained a certain way, right? You train yourself to be faster at the work, because time is money, because you got deadlines. The thing about like indies is when you're working for yourself, you don't really have the deadline, unless, I guess, if you took people's money and you told them that you have to work out there at this time, right? Hey man, thanks for your money. I'm going to have a product out for you in about 6 months. Cool. Okay. Everybody's okay with that, right? Because they know that's how long maximum it should take you. Okay. However, oh shit, man, I got in trouble. Hurt my arm. Can't do this, you know, or had to have surgery, or you know, had issues with I guess the talent, you know, and so couldn't get this finished in time, had to look for a new person. People, you know, this is why to get rid of that, I basically won't be releasing any work until it's totally finished. Right? Because I don't have to make those excuses up or get into those situations, right? Where I have to explain myself why this is what happened. So rather than taking people's money, I go, I'm not even going to take your money until the work's done. Right? Until until I'm ready to go to Kickstarter, I'm not even taking your money. Right? Until the work's finished and ready to go to print, you keep your money. You know, don't worry about it. Hold on to that. But please, for the love of God, you know, support us when we get it out to you, because we've, you know, basically been working for free in the meantime to get this stuff done. Somewhere here, all this needs to go. Color. We go. So there is some water because they're coming out of the water, but I think the easiest thing, better thing would be to like have no water on them, and and then do that in later. Because like it's just a mess with everything where I can't even see jack. Because when I selected it, just like there was a lot of the lines were open. It's things like I mentioned this before, that when you have like, you know, if you're not an artist but learning to be whatever, make sure all your line work like is linked. That makes it easy on the colorist to do, you know, to go into color, because with the lines not touching, like, you know, like this here, when I go to do selection, it goes everywhere. So it doesn't really help. But the other thing is the artist is thinking, okay, that will just be like blue without the line being there, right? So I'm just using the stuff. So, you know, because that's what the artist is thinking. But when you're actually coloring, you know, you got to have some line there to make it work. Otherwise, it's tough. It takes much longer to color, and you don't, everything, like the whole idea that we speak about, like comics shouldn't take that long, right? Is that if you have done simple little tricks like this of lining, you know, of touching all your lines, right, around where they should be touching, then it shortens the time you spend on coloring and so on. And inking as well, right? No, still touching. I mean, not touching, I should say, somewhere. So now this is the hand. So, and what's it? That's the leg. So just touch these lines here, black. Because there's a lot of movement, you know, with water and stuff on this here. So it's a lot of blues, especially where there's, you know, so a lot of blue movement with water and so on. You kind of like almost have to like imagine from afar what it's going to look like. you can see here. So, you know, just to tie everything up nicely. So if you're a professional, right, and I've talked about this before, if all you got to do all day long is sit on your ass and draw or write, a 22-page or whatever, 26, 28 page shouldn't take 4 years. It's ridiculous to think that it would take that long. And a lot of people that talk like that aren't really creative. There's no creative things like that, honestly. Because, you know, most of the time we're thinking like, how quickly can we get something done? How long will it take me to do? Because that's what a normal worker knows. That they, hey, you know, the boss comes up, goes, okay, let's start with the kitchen, right? And work different shit and stuff for years. So in the kitchen, you get an order. Right? You get a menu. Yo, you need to make, okay, because like, here's the last kitchen job I had was basically as a bistro chef. One person work job. Or 2 people, depending. If it was a busy day, if it was a sports team, you had about 3 or 4 people in the kitchen. Usually lunchtime was just me, all right? Any given day, I take, you know, I was either, didn't matter what day it was. If I was on in the kitchen, I'd be doing the customer service, which is basically, which is I would take the order, right? Take the order, then go and make the order. So let's just say, you know, blue cod and chips and an egg, right? Sunny side up, maybe some bacon or whatever, but some, you know, fish nuggets or chicken nuggets. And it was my duty to make it up. So how about I say, oh, thanks for your money, mate. Go sit down. I'll bring it over whenever I feel like it. Would you ever come back? You know what would happen next? They would come up and say to me, hey, where's my order? I ordered half an hour ago. We still haven't made it. I'd be like, what order? What are you talking about? It's like that order that's like on that piece of paper that shows that you said that, you know, if I gave you this money and I made an order, you would have my order ready at such and such time, which usually is 15 minutes, give or take, depending on if you're busy, right? Because the other side of things like that is that when you've got a whole bunch of orders, you go through, you would, like say if you had a toasty and there was 3 other people that had a toasty, you put all those 3 toasties in at the same time. Because that way you could bring them all, you know, you weren't using the machine one after the other. You were just like, you got 3 toasties there. If it's 3 toasted breads, right? Toasted sandwiches, what do you want? I don't know what people all around the world. It's 2 thick breads, right? And what you do is like, you know, you put your sandwich meat and whatever cheese on one. You put your meat on one side, and then you put your you know, let's say your tomatoes and bacon and cheese on the other side, and then you squish it together. So it's like it saves time. It's, you know, if you've been in the kitchen making those, you know how, you know, you do a lot of things to save time. So you're doing multiple things at the same time, because it's the way to make the kitchen work faster and to make orders go out faster, so that people aren't waiting, or so that when you're actually cooking something, it's still hot by the time it gets to the, you know, there's not something sitting on the friggin' counter getting cold, right? So that the meal goes out hot. And I did that for freaking 3 years, right? Actually, almost 3.5 years I did that while I was a student, to make money on the side. What, you know, you pay for holidays, you pay for hotel stays, you know, so you can have your honeymoon, I mean, like kind of anniversary, you know, dates, whatever you want to call it, and stuff like that. Just so that life was a bit easier, rather than like having your your standard amount of money as a student, buy a car and all that. So if I was that, like, so if thing is that if they come to complain and I say, oh, just wait your turn, man, I'll get it to you when I can, right? And then half an hour later, still not there with, dude, have you made my freaking sandwich yet? Oh no, I decided to add this other thing, so you might as well buy this other thing now, right? To get that sandwich, now you need to buy some nuggets. But all I wanted was a freaking sandwich, mate. I gave you money for a sandwich. Why do I have to wait for nuggets? Oh, you don't want the nuggets? Well, these other people want the nuggets. Well, you got to have the nuggets too. But if you don't want the nuggets, then you're gonna wait. You have to wait for your sandwich, right? Or whatever it is that you ordered initially until I get all the nuggets made. So sorry, mate, you can't have those nuggets, right? I mean, you can't have your sandwich until the nuggets are made. Okay, so just wait, and and if I did that, then guess what? My boss would go, my manager would come up to me and go, hey, Aru, dude, what the hell's this I'm hearing about you telling them that they gotta wait till you've made the nuggets before they can get their meal that they asked for, the sandwich they asked for. Oh yeah, dude, I'm just gonna sit here and they're just gonna have to wait until I've got all these other stuff sorted out before they can get the Aru. They've been waiting for an hour now. Yeah, but hold on, mate. Yo, hold on. I told them that they can buy this other stuff, and then they'll get this. They'll get their friggin' sandwich. Like, I think we are going to have to let you go, Aru. I don't think you're a good fit here. I don't think you'd understand how a restaurant is supposed to work. How this business, this bistro that you've been hired to run, as part of the sports bar, right, where people come to watch all sorts of sports, and they bet on those sports. And the whole point of you being here is to make sure that they don't go outside or elsewhere to get a meal. Otherwise, they might not come back. Your whole idea of why you've been hired is to provide them a meal. And we provide them very cheap meals because a lot of the money that facilitates them getting a cheap meal, like in a casino, is already paid for and subsidized by them buying the beer, by them watching the games, betting on the games. So the fact that you are not providing them the meal that they actually, that we actually are keeping the price low of so that they could, stay here. And the fact is that they already paid for it, and you're not providing that. Why are you still here? Why are you actually here, Art? Right? Should you not be elsewhere? Like, go find a job that allows for that sort of shit behavior. Because not here. We're professionals here, right? This is a friggin' sports bar, Art. You are a bistro chef. This is your job here to provide the best meal at that these people want while they're watching a stupid sports game. All right? Whatever the friggin' thing is that they're betting on. While they're here for the next 5 hours or so, drinking beers and shots and whatever. with their mates, with their teammates, with whatever. But I don't think you know what this business is. This business is all about here. That I hired you, and I'm paying you a very good pay to do. Yeah, but you don't understand. You don't understand, mate. Like I've worked for about 10 years as a chef. I know how this business works, though. I'm a professional chef. I'm a professional cook. I've worked in very, very well-known restaurants. Really? Did they put up with this sort of behavior? Well, apologies. No, they didn't. No. So why should that behavior be allowed to continue here then? Well, because, this is a sports bar. It's not a 5-star restaurant, right? It's a friggin' sports bar, mate. Like you already said, this food is subsidized. So it's like, people are just here watching a game. They're not here, expecting a 5-star restaurant behavior. It's like, no, Aru, it doesn't matter what this building is or what this business is, whether it's a 5-star restaurant or if it's a friggin' sports bar or if it's a friggin' children's kindergarten school and you're supposed to be providing meals here for them. There's a certain level of professionalism that you're expected to behave and carry out. And most important of all, you receive money. I paid you to do this job, Aaron. Right? I hired you to provide meals for these people, so that they could stay here and not go away during the in between matches, because we want them here as long as possible to buy as many drinks as possible, right? I mean, this whole food thing, Aru, it doesn't cost us that much at all. It's subsidized. Like it does. The fact is that we don't really care if they pay for the food at all. We'd rather give them away free. But it covers the base cost, because at the end of the day, they need to eat. We don't want them to leave, right? And everybody's happy. They get fed. We cover whatever cost we need to cover, because, like I said, we don't make a profit off this. It's just what it is, all right? But your behavior in not providing them the services they are expected to be provided for, and what I'm really paying you to do this job, man. Up front, by the way, right? I'm paying you to do this job up front, Aru. Why are you not doing what you're paid to do? You took the money, right? Every week you take the money, right, Aru? So see how stupid it is? Like, behaving in a situation where it takes so long takes so long to do. I mean, it's like I asked one of my artists, right, cover artists, if he wanted to do a paid gig for another writer, not me, for another writer or a publisher, right? I said, and he said, well, what about the work I'm doing? Do you want that first for you or for him? I said, no. Do the work for him, because you'll get paid. Right, up front, right now. You'll get the bag, man. I said, cool. Right, so I said, yeah. Now, what if he then goes, oh, sweet, I'll take the money and I'll wait 4 years to provide you the friggin' thing. This is why I do not like the idea of, I know crowdfunding is what it is, right? It's to help you create a stuff that, that you can't do on your own financially, right? Produce a good, a bill of goods, using somebody else's money, paying somebody else or yourself, and because it's not easy, right? It's costly. Art is costly. That's why a lot of people are cheating now using AI, right? Art has never been cheap, but there are cheap artists. You know, I used to spend like 10 hours on an item that I'd sell for $10. I mean, $100, right? 10 hours on something I'd spend I would sell for $100. Done it twice. And it was like an A2 size, so it's a really big size canvas, you know, whatever, painting. So it's like $10 an hour. New Zealand, that's like $7 US an hour. This is when I was in my 20s. But hey, that's the price I set. Didn't mean that I had to go and do lower talent work. It meant my art had to be this just as good as if it was, you know, if they were going to pay me $500 for it. And this is the thing that, like, I just have to look. You have to laugh at people who aren't artists, who come up with excuses for artists. You really have to, otherwise you'll go crazy. Because art doesn't take time, especially when it comes to comics. Because, you know, like Elisman says, I should say, Carl Ritter is a colorist for Ethan, right? And not only that, Ethan has other people doing art for him, pencils, whatever you want to call it, and other people doing inks. So Ethan isn't a one-man show. I'm not a one-man show. Usually there's two of us, right? The artist and me. Usually the inker is the artist. And I do the rest. Or then if it's black and white. Otherwise, I might do the color flats and then get a colorist, or I'll just get the colorist. So there's three people. Now, depending on which work it is, I know there's for me and Tomas. On the manga, it's just me and him. Right? So it's just, yeah, he does the inks and pencils, and he does it digitally. So it's kind of, you know, he plans it all out, and then so it's, you know, it's. By the way, here's a cover he's doing. Should just show that while I'm talking about thing. And I realized I just now realized I forgot yesterday that I was supposed to do a you know, the next I'll do it tomorrow. I think for the day after. Upload the next lot of stuff. I don't like to eat until I've done work. It's one of my habits I've got into. So if I'm doing this, then I'm working, so therefore I'm not, you know, eating, because I just don't feel like eating until I've done. It feels like a reward to eat, or something. So yeah. So where are you? Tortoise. Yeah. So I forgot to put up this week's. You know, like I want to do Tortoise every 7 days, but I forgot to put up Tortoise, the new page of. Okay, so the new, new page of Tortoise on the Kickstarter. Webtoons this week. So covers. There's a sample of the work of. Just doesn't want to come. Let me grab a drink. There we go. All right. So cover. Tortoise. Covers. Times. So latest one. Oh yeah. So this is Tomas planning out the cover design. I asked him to do with Amber here and Kirsten here, and just red ink. Usually people do comics that do blue, but he's using red, and so just sorting out what we need to change and stuff. And we realized that some things had to be just to make it work a bit more. And this is based on the cover from the first artist manga first issue that we had done with a different artist, which is the old one, which was we had it for about 99 cents. I just pulled it down recently. Yeah, the PDF. Actually, do it get the way. I've got a PDF there. Oh yeah, it's one of a 14-year-old girl. I had where was it? A local girl. I had I didn't know she was 14, and then her dad told me. I said, "Oh, sorry, you can't. Yeah, she can't work with us because you're not only minor, but also this material isn't something that you should be working on." So what I did was I had her. However, I did pay her to do a cover because I don't want to leave it all on the negative, because I wanted to actually kind of still encourage her to continue the work, working in comics, manga and stuff, and not just go, oh yeah, just turn her away because she wasn't able. But I said, I'll get you to do a cover for us anyway, because I was going to give her color and everything. But I was like, yeah, this material is just not, because it is a mature and she's only 14, so I wasn't, but I'm so glad that that I was told that she was, because she didn't tell me, but my parent told me. He's like, hey, just want to let you know my daughter's only 14. It's like, oh shit, yeah, well she can't work with me on this project, man. I can't find it. For reference, color. The weird thing is that this friggin' story went from a 12-page to a 4-issue. So a 12-page short to a 4-issue, and that kind of just got away from me. And yeah, it just sucked. I mean, not sucked, but the fact is that I couldn't. Here it is. I couldn't tell the story I wanted to tell in 12 pages. So I had her. This is this here. Amber and her rendition of what it's got, I think it's got photo. I can't remember what it's called, where you draw and then you can also have photos and stuff. So she basically asked for this and she drew me this. So now, right, we saw that one similar kind of thing, but I added in the fact that Carmen, this is the character here, who's their translator, because they don't know how to speak the local language, so they get a translator, and so he has a machete in his hand, the big giant knife, to cut through all the vines in the jungle, and so that's the one we had the character that I showed before that Tomas is doing the covers for here. that he's planning out. And we've already got like most of the covers done. Every other cover's done except for this cover A. Like I said, all our cover A's is done by the interior artist, right? So he's going to do all the inks, finish it off, and then I will do the color flats, and then I'll send it back to him to do the shading, manga shading, and that'll be that. We've got some really cool covers for this one when it comes out, man. Just so excited. That James has done, right? Which is, let's see, which is one of these. This one here. It's a wraparound cover. You've probably seen this one already, which is the bikini cover. It's a vinyl. Try my boat. Vinyl red. There we go. So this is the cover B. Amber, Kirsten. And then you've also got the wraparound cover, which is either one of the wraparound covers, which is this one here. You got Kirsten, Amber, and you got Kirsten. Then the other one, there's a bedroom cover. Yep, so this is a work in progress color flats on the bedroom cover, which is this one here. Haven't finished it yet. So there's two wraparound covers, variant covers, and there's also, so there's a jungle cover. This is the bedroom cover, the risque cover, nude, and then this is the bikini cover for the cover B. And cover A's been done now. So there's about 4 covers, and that's so cool, man. I love these. James is such a talented artist. Just, you get him drawing zombies, and then you get him drawing beautiful women. It's just great. Yeah. Teddy bears, pillows, weird. A strange love stories series. So the strange love story series is like there's a bunch of stories I've written that has to do with like supernatural elements to it or mythological elements to it. Yeah. So I think I've got most of this done. Let me see where that actually is. Here we go. So there's a wraparound tribe. Yeah, so this is a wraparound tribe cover. I think the color, the hair color is different. Because I know, yeah, so I went with pink there. As you can see here, the other one is actually yellow. Yeah. So this is the final version, and this is like this. So let me see what's different here. So it's just got a tattoo, that one. Because I ended up putting a tattoo on there on the hip. So this isn't the right one either. So I think that's another one. So yes, I had to put a tattoo on her left thigh, which is like a flower, right? But also that ties in to the title, kind of imprinting on the title is it's got that turtle shell design. Took for freaking ever. Like everything I do does not. It takes forever, right? Because I'm always like, I'm not happy until I'm happy. So I'll keep doing the versions over and over again, like designs over and over again until I'm happy. So I think I must have went with blonde, right? Rather than the pink. I don't think I like the pink on this. So let me. Colored words. something. I have to go look over it again. I haven't looked at this for about a year because this work was done like ages ago for this cover. So, but yeah, we've got that one. Let me see what's that. Where's the wrap around bedroom? Okay, so this is the this is wrap around nude. All right, so this is what that looks like now. Once it opens up. So that's what that cover looks like. So I'm not sure if if I'm happy with the the kind of like the color scheme. It's kind of nice, kind of pastel in the bedroom kind of thing. Or if I want to go a bit more bright. Because still, someone else is going to come and finish off the colors. It's not going to be this flat colors. It's like I have to, pay someone to go over it and actually make it, what we call it, tones and stuff, lights, darks, shiny areas like highlights and so on. But the other thing is like, I might put it out as a poster, which could be cool. Yeah, I have decided to do. Yeah, there's a color scheme I was going for. The color palette, I'll call it. Yeah, show you. So it's just a different. So you can see so when it shows that palette scheme as a scheme, palette for the color scheme. Then these are different tones and stuff like that. Colors I should say. Separate so I can drop in colors wherever I want it. So you can see here it's like go into orange. I don't want to go for that greeny. I went for the orange because it reminds me of a teddy bear I actually made from scratch for my pattern. And I ate Howard Trip for my which my niece is now, which my sister I made for my sister in a band called Shibi. And of course, since I'm talking about Shibi, right, I should actually talk about the free comic that you can read. And I haven't updated this site for about a year. So please excuse the fact that I haven't, updated our website for a year. All right, so it's not, it's PlungeComics.com, I think. Yeah. So yeah, this is our page on that channel. Website. So let me take you there. This is plungenz.com. And like I said, I haven't updated this in a year. I should be getting to update it soon sometime. It's just that it's one of those things, right? You have so much to do and you have so little time. So I've been able to, even the front page, right? Haven't even fixed it. This is like from 2022. I think 23 was the last time we did a convention, and I updated that. So it's 2 years old. Actually, yeah, it's longer than 2 years. I mean, longer than a year that I've done this. So, however, this is what I want to talk to you about. Why I brought up Shibi, right? So PJ and Shibi And this is how I end up like creating. There's if you go into the webcam web comic strips, these are free comic strips you can read. It's like 2 speech bubbles discuss, or something like that. And I'll go backwards. So there's like 3 stories told with just speech bubbles, right? And there's that one there, and then there is I was putting out every Monday. This is like goes back a while. Then there is also the lockdown version, which is the last time I did them. That was here. So it's like this whole story just folded in bubbles, right? And try to convey emotion through bubbles is a really interesting way to do it. Like just using the fonts and the way you do use the fonts, it's really, it's one of the weirdest ways. And I wanted to test myself. Can I do it with just with bubbles? If I can do it just with bubbles, and and using colors, can I get that done? So there was that. So also there's like the original web comic for Incredigo, right? There as well, which you can see the art for here. Very much web comic style. It's the indies DY, I would say, which is what I class as the C level, right? Which is which has been rewritten and illustrated to what it is now. Which issue 2 is coming out soon. But PJ and Chibi is what I wanted to talk about today, because I was talking about just before about the teddy bear, right? And Chibi. So I created a whole little friggin' where are you? Is that one? There it is. So I've been wanting to do a comic strip for a long time. Because like I said, I like to test myself as a creator all the time. So what I did was I created 3 panel strips, right? With an artist called Constantino Petroselis. He's from Greece, but he's living in Estonia now. So we did these anthropomorphic animals. And so you got Chibi here, and you got PJ here dead, right? And then you've got their mother, Alina, I think it is, that we did later. So you got these cool, just strips about like cancel culture, and just fun like social societal things, right? And told from animals' point of views, like putting them into human characteristics and stuff. So I haven't written this in about 3 years, because we started doing these like about 2020 or something like that. Yeah, so you got PJ's anthology tour, but there's other stories as well. There's like 3 of 3. So it was like, 3 for this story. It was like 3 panels with 3 strips, so about 9 panels all up. Then you got this one here, PJ versus technology. Then you got his the black sheep of the family, and that's another character. I can't remember his name. So him trying to come up with something interesting. I can't remember what that is. It's been a while. Yeah. So 21, something like that when we did this. Then you got Chibi questions ideologies. Right. Stormy. That's what his name is. It's Stormy, the black sheep. So the only so in this, and then you got like PJs versus leopards. There's like little things that were popular that was in the news at the time, and so I would take that and I would make them write a little comic strip about them, like a 3-panel strip. Like PJ versus Tortoise. And it was just interesting little things like panda politics. Melina versus, Melina being the mother. And then I think this is food bully versus the food bully. Yeah, but it's kind of like a general audience type thing, but it's like, just I haven't looked at this in 2 years to work on this for 2 years. It sounds like everybody's talking about like what you call it, like kids wanting the next, phone and this character and this situation. This is a 6-panel story about a kid wanting an 18-year-old basically wanting a tablet, right? Which is in this version, it's like I carrot 3, right? The next one, and then you've got here at Very Big Queens, 1 of 5, so that's like a 15-panel story, and people just basically, I think the story here was about food, like meat or vegetables or something like that. Difference between, some panels have more, more dialogue on it than others, but it was just trying to make sure if I can get everything out within that 3-panel thing. And I know most of you guys probably have no idea that I actually did this, that we did this in the last 5 years, right? But yeah. Also, what's this one? MLB gets banned. My Little Bunny gets banned. So it's about a cartoon, banning of cartoons and stuff like that, or some sort of shows. Can't remember what was happening at the time, but yeah, I was basically doing a weekly thing. Every Monday we bring out a 3-panel strip, and so forth. Stormy's life lessons to his son, right? And Stormy's part of their family, by the way. So he's like the uncle. Yeah. Insta fame. Who's still about Insta? Talking about IRL streaming and stuff. Yeah. So we did do a couple others that I haven't put up yet, that a friend of mine wrote, and then I had Constantino's draw, but we haven't put them up because I was going to put these out as a little slim book that is this wide, right? So it's kind of like about that wide and slim. As a hardcover sometime once I had like about 30 to 50 strips done, and do something really interesting with it as a packaged item, like a box set type of things with like colored strips or posters that you folded up and into that size that you could put on your wall. That was really big, like an A3 size, but when you got it, it was all folded about this small. Cards, the whole shebang. We just haven't got to it because we didn't finish it. It's like, oh yeah, this came out every weekly on Wednesday, right? So we had about 27 or something done. But yeah. But you could basically put out all these months with that. But the other idea I had was like to actually do this, do these strips like PJ and Shivi, right? With people like animals and stuff. We could do that, and that could finish that up. So I might do that. So the story here, right? This was very during COVID. We did this, right? During COVID, 16 of them, and so because I didn't, rather than getting an artist to draw it with me and stuff. So I did this, which was basically, to all our friends all over the world facing the torch yellow spinning. Please note this series was written in April 2020. The expectation within that time, at the time, was that within a few months everything would be back to normal. Well, for us Kiwis down here at the bottom of the world, it basically is back to normal, but we still understand it isn't for quite, so it isn't quite. That's the wrong word there. When I go to clean this up, I might get rid of that. So it isn't quite so for a few of you reading the series. Please bear with us, and hopefully you'll get some solace with the story of Lynn, a mum dealing with her own isolation. So it's about a 50-year-old mum dealing with a son being stuck in another city, right? And her neighbors and her stuff like that, and trying to stay in contact with the son while she's alone, right? And the other cool thing was like with doing that was I got to talk about like life in New Zealand in the 80s when I was growing up, how things were. And so I was able to talk through the bubbles, just using the bubbles, and have her convey all that emotion just with the text, with no narration, with nothing, just her speech. And it was tough, but learning, once again, like, trying to get out of the mold of just doing comic books, doing all the other types of styles, other kind of things you could do as a creative person using the medium of sequential art. In that case, there was no art in it, but it was just using speech bubbles, which is related to comics, right? Sequential art. So, yeah, so that was a whole idea of Shibi there. Why we went on that segue. That, and back to this. I did finish the other one. I just have to, the other cover. I just have to change the, I was tossing up between red or purple for the lingerie, and it was supposed to be red from the start, but because one of the reference images that pinups, so you can see here, right? So there's purple lingerie, robe, slip on, whatever you want to call it. I mean, not lingerie, like that's a slip on thing. I don't know what the exact term is, but so the idea was that she was supposed to be like this, right? That was the whole concept of that, why it was to look like that. And James did a great deal with this. But that's how but then I being read. But what happened was that I saw this other image of artwork that was done with her in it, and she had purple on. So I thought, why not, put her in purple? But then I was like, I sent this across last night to James, who's the artist on this, right? And I said, color changes, do you need, do you want me to change anything? Because I always do that when it comes to covers and stuff. Because, sometimes artists, have something in their head, how they would want things to look like. And of course, I'm just doing the color flat, so I don't have like, I don't care if the color changes that. Doesn't bother me if the color changes something else, as long as the skin color on the main characters is what they're supposed to be. So the cool thing is I have a separate thing, right? So she's got her underwear on, which is black. So I made sure that I would have a separate color for that, so it'll be over the top of the brown, And so when I drop, when I drop this down a bit, the other color would come through. The transparency. However, James got back to me yesterday and said, "Hey, I thought it was supposed to be red." I go, "Yeah," and this is the reason, like I just said to you guys, right? Because because I saw that picture here, and I thought, well, might as well give her a purple underwear, undergarment as well. In this case, it's not really undergarment; it's like a slip-on, right? 90. That's the word I should be looking for, like a slip-on night, like a chocolate. Go to bed, sleep with. So I said to him, "You know what? Let's go back to red because I like the red, and it was what we wanted to do." So now there we go. So all I got to do here now. Oops. Wait. Oh, I see. Get rid of. Use a different selection tool here. Preferred layer, right? Oh. Weird. Anyway. Plus. So it's kind of weird. Like, so you can see that here, right? So if I go there, oh, that's too much. Too little, I should say. Because I still want the red to show through without it being like that. Going to that apricot color. So I think what I would do is I will go and choose a darker red, right? And that way, by choosing a darker red, when I drop it, it won't lose too much of the red. See how this looks. That looks really vibrant, much better. It looks really bright on your guys' screen. Like really blood red, whereas like it looks a bit like more less red, I should say. It looks fire red in front of me, but it looks like blood red on my screen. So just go with that. Because I'm looking, I mean, maybe not to you, but on my TV screen it looks different to it than compared to my center. So maybe there. Just want it just enough to show that's transparent without it being. I kind of feel like it's not dark enough. But then it's way too dark, right? Now it's like muddy red. Yeah, even that's not good. So yeah, I'll give it with the other one. I think this is the best one. Yep. Drop it down to 80, 19. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, compared to what it was before, right? So instead of purple, now it's red, and now it stands out. So yeah, so this is the finished version. Get rid of purple there. And so this is now going to be popping up for like, what would say, promos. This is a cover C, if I remember right. Is it C? Yeah, it's cover C. I just realized it's there. So cover C by James D. Hill. All sorted and ready for what's called final lighting and timings. So yeah, so this is the character there. I can't remember her name, but that's the character there. Who's here? And then This is the one I'm going to finish, which is cover A. I'll continue to work on this throughout the night. Put on a movie. What's that? Oh, talk about movies, man. Like this week, I watched two oldies: a 20-year-old and a 50-year-old, maybe. So let me just save this, and I'll bring up some couple of movies that I really enjoyed that I watched. One I probably never saw, or if I did see, I only remember seeing a bit of it and not understanding anything about it. Right? Have you ever had that? Like you watch the movie with your parents or whoever, and you don't remember understanding what it was about because you're a child, right? So, well, I wasn't. I must have been in my pre-teens. So there is everything's starting to slow down on my screen. All right, so the first one, and this is because I've been watching banned movies or movies that had to be censored, like 10 such and such or 20 such and such YouTube videos. So this was like Event Horizon was under it came out in 1997, and so it was. Got rid of something that I wanted to show later as we finished. Hold up, let me bring that up. And good thing because I forgot that I was supposed to show that later. All right, okay, so let me bring the screen up. Go. So this is Event Horizon, and this was one of the things. So I gave it a 7, and it could have been an 8, but the fact that they cut out about 40, the studio cut out 40 minutes of this movie, so it could have been over 2 hours and 10 minutes, and would have been and should have been if they left all that in the next Hellraiser. But Hellraiser in space. Now, if you guys have seen this movie, right, you know it's a full-on horror movie. Basically, the thing is that this guy goes out and they're in space. They get a message after 40 years or something about the ship that got lost in space. Right, so they go out looking for it, and they come across it, and they, so their mission is to find the ship, and they're on board the ship that they go out in. What's the name of that? I can't remember the name of the ships anyway. Bad memory when it comes to names. So the idea is that the maker of the ship, they found out later, once they get out there, right, because they're going to status for about 56 days. And they get out there, and I love the idea of status because you'll see, and when we bring out our Robot Nations comic, which is now fully colored, totally finished. I just need to do all the 3 versions of the languages because we put it out. We're putting it out in Portuguese, English, and Spanish, and so they each have their own cover, and we're going to put them out in print in each languages because it's kind of like a variant comic that has a specific language as well with the variant cover. So if you're a collector of foreign comics but also of variant covers, you get to have a special thing, right? You have the same comic in digital as you have, in English that you can have in 2 other languages. So and I've got some great covers on those. So that'll be coming up soon. And that's that's called Robot Nation #1, which is like a standalone comic, 48-page comic book with 2 short stories in it. It's almost like 2 comics in one, and they're fully colored, by the way. So yeah, so they go out to find this, and when they things happen when they get there. And the reason I said it should have been it is kind of like. But they took out 40 whole minutes, man. That's like a third of a movie, right, from this movie, the studio did, and they, yeah. But let's watch this.
A haunted ship.
I'm getting some really strange readings in here.
A missing crew.
This place is a tomb.
DJ, where are you?
And infinite evil.
This ship has been beyond the boundaries of our universe. Who knows what it's brought back with it?
Vacate! I want off this ship.
You can't leave. She won't let you. Event Horizon. Rated R.
That should have been, man. It should have been, and it came very close,
A
right?
haunted ship.
I'm getting some really
Yeah, it should have been, and could have been. That's another one of the big movies that I saw a list. Like, there's a listing that they have on YouTube. So one thing I do like watching is like movies people don't want you to watch, because you kind of like, you know, and movies that they've cut stuff out of them, you know, and it kind of sucks because it's just I don't know, it just feels like, well, what's the reason for it? Because when you're an adult, you're an adult, you know. It's R18, it's made for adults, so whatever. But anyway, so the other movie I saw, which was made for kids, right? Which is Black Hole. And when I was a kid, I didn't really understand what was going on. It's about right. Here we go. So that came out in '79. I was only 6 years old when this came out. So it was crazy. Like, I didn't see it. I mean, I didn't even know about these movies until I came to New Zealand when I was like, in 1980. So I was only about 7 years old. But this movie came out on video. I think my dad had it on video for us to watch when I was only like about 11 or something, or maybe even 10. I don't know, or 9. But I remember having it in the house, but I don't remember. I only remember seeing a bit of it, right? And so it didn't quite make sense to me what it was. But when you watch Event Horizon, at the same time you watch Black Hole, or around the same time, one after the other, either way, it's crazy how similar they are as movies, as storylines, as plots. However, one has a lot more budget than the other, and that being Black Hole. Black Hole has crazy budget on it because they wanted to make the next Star Wars, right? You can see why. So you can see they've been fighting to get Star Wars as part of them for so long, and now they finally have it. So this is Disney's answer to Star Wars. However, I don't think Disney should have made this movie. They should have given the money to another studio to make and owned the rights to it, and said, "Hey, go and make me Event Horizon with style of thing." Well, back then, Stephen Horizon exists, but I mean, make me a full-on movie and don't make it for kids, because this movie isn't for kids, by the way. Right?
There is an inexorable force in the cosmos where time and space converge. A place beyond man's vision, but not his reach. It is the most mysterious and awesome point in the universe, where the here and now may be forever.
On my ship, you ask.
It is unavoidable, moving through space, swallowing everything in its path. Radio waves, light.
Are you programmed to speak?
Even planets and stars.
So this whole this is they've got this trailer with this over the top of it. This whole thing here, just without the trailer in the back of it, with the character's name and this image, that goes on for 5 minutes, almost 5 minutes at the start, which is titles, just like that, just green. It's just weird. And you're sitting there through 5 minutes of just titles. But this is what I want to get to. So how they're trying to make robots and stuff like that, and how they wanted their own stuff. See, whoops, dang it. I clicked the wrong one. I was going to pause. But you can see here, right? Where is it? Where's the? You can see here that this is R2D2, right? Their version of R2D2, basically. And you've got here their stormtroopers. And I'm talking about Disney.
Go. Fire thrusters.
That madman is headed straight for the black hole. What'll we do? We wait.
It's a really dark movie, man. Seriously, Black Hole is very dark. And I don't mean that in, black. I mean, it's very dark. Tone, what the situation, the plot points. And that's why I said, it's like Event Horizon and Black Hole is basically the same movie, but with different technologies and different era. Right? One in 97, one in 79. Oh, that's weird. I just realized that. So you can see there is 97, 1997, and 79. Anyway, but is this? Yeah, I was watching Event Horizon and then watching the Black Hole was interesting. When you realize that, really, there's nothing really new under the sun when it comes to storytelling and stuff. It's just your own interpretation of that. Okay. But yeah, if you haven't seen those two movies, man, it's worthwhile watching as an adult. If you watch it as a kid, yeah, it might look like, oh, there's robots and fun and stuff, but man, there's robots. There's Black Hole, scary, thematically, right, plot wise, when you really think about what the protagonist is doing and has done. And so I was watching the video or YouTube clip about that, and they were saying how critics, some critics said, well, they should have went further with the content, with the themes, and they should have got into the horror more. And others said, well, they went too, wasn't. They shouldn't put it out as for kids. Oops. Because it's really not for kids. I wouldn't, they got, because there's some, like I said, it's got dark themes in there, man. But if they went the way that Event Horizon went with them, because that's, like I said, exactly the same freaking movie. plot-wise, story-wise. It would have been such a great horror movie, which it wants to be. It wants to be a space horror, right? But because it's for kids, it's tamed down quite a lot. And that's kind of like why I like the Claremont run of X-Men, and I always hold that run as Claremont and Byrne run as a tent pole of what a comic book for all ages should be. That the content is mature thematically, but the audience still can still be kids, right? Because older people can understand it, what is being said. However, younger people can understand it as well without it going over their heads. And this kind of like when you're a writer, you write to your audience, and whatever that audience may be. I just realized something, that my color is all wrong for this. Because all the blue here is supposed to be the same. Different blue to this, and this is supposed to be like different blue as well when I get to it. But I'm just using it as color blocking. And I'm always testing myself, right? When it comes to writing. But right now, I'm watching a lot of horror movies, which I haven't done for a while, at least a couple of months. Is that I'm writing a horror comic, and I've written the first issue. There is the script for it, and now I've been researching for the second issue at the moment, in the sense of like what I want in it, what I want to cover, how far to take the content of the story, what I want to push in it, what I want to tame down, because you gotta know all this going in to writing the script. The next issue, whatever, you go, okay, this is my plan for issue 1. I'm going to show them this. I'm going to show them this. This is what the character is going to say. This is what the character is going to say here. This is who the characters are, so people understand that, and then this is where I'm going to leave them. Right? Kind of like it's kind of like a road, right? It's a journey, right? It's a comic book. First issue is a journey. You got to stop at certain points to drive home the message of what it is that you're trying to, get your reader to be part of. And so with later, as long as I've got my colors there, blotted out, blocked out, I should say. Supposed to be some blue in here somewhere, but because it's like in the dark and the moonlight's in the front, you don't see the blue that much. You can see here, lights in the front. So with the story that I'm writing, and it's about fashion business. It was weird, why would I be writing about fashion business? It's because I had this dream, and in the dream, it was about models at a house and what was being done to those models. I think I must have watched a horror movie or something prior to that, prior to going to sleep. And so, or I might have watched some freaking YouTube content that somebody was modeling some clothes or whatever, and I thought, okay. And then when I went to bed, it was in my head, and like bed pizza, it regurgitated into a horror, sorry, a nightmare. Wasn't nightmare. I don't really get scared. It's like the only thing that scares me is in a dream is bulls, right? Bullocks, male beef on legs. Nothing else scares me in dreams apart from that. Not even falling. Because I can force myself awake, but when it's bulls, man, I can't do jack shit. Because my sleeping brain just feels like, oh no, you stay here and be scared. So while I'm trying to run away in my dream, it takes all my effort to get out of there. So yeah, so I mean, like, when you're writing a script, you have a base idea of a plot, of characters, but the other thing is that as you continue writing, they take on a mind of their own. The characters end up trying to be, oh, this is what I want you to do, and this is where you kind of go, well, yeah, but that doesn't fit right, and they go, well, this is a reason, and you find out freaking down the road that, okay, that makes sense. But because your brain's filling in holes that you're not even seeing. And this is the thing about like our brain, like we only use 1/10 of it, right? So as a writer, your brain's all scrambled up and understands plots and ideas because you spent your whole life reading, right? And watching movies, going to movies, going to plays, stage plays, and all this stuff. And all these things, like an AI, is regurgitated into your brain. Right? It's all chucked in there. And even when you think you don't know how things are working out, your brain sometimes does, because it's got all this information that you don't even think you have. And so because that information is already there, you're able to think ahead of stuff like that you didn't think you were actually working out. And then you end up like, oh, that makes sense now. Because you went along with it, right? The thing is, that's why like writers say, oh, the work is writing itself. Right. The characters are writing themselves. It's because your brain has worked out things that you haven't even thought of yet. And you can only, if you go along with it and allow it to guide you, and you guide yourself as well. Because not everything you're going to come up with is going to be good. Right. Even the plots while you're writing it's going to be good. Sometimes it's, it'll end up being crap, and you got to decide, do I leave it or do I continue? What I do to save myself the hassle of like, do I leave it or do I continue, is I copy, cut, paste into another file, right? Into another, text image, whatever, text file. And I'll leave it there and go extra dialogue, extra ideas, or whatever under the same, folder, work folder, so that I know it's to do with that. And that's something like, usually in the early days, I'll just rewrite over it, not even think about saving it. But as I started writing more, like probably about a decade or so ago, or 15 years ago, I started realizing that I can't throw away what I've come up with, because it might work later in the story. And I can, like, my brain hasn't worked out right now. I mean, I haven't worked out, but my brain's already saying that, well, maybe it might work if you just put it here. And it can be quite frustrating, For artists, if you do that, right? Especially if you've already, if you've already written something and the artist has drawn something, and you go back after the fact, you go, well, do this here, and go, well, why? It's like we've already done. Can't change that. But then you got to explain, well, this is why it works here, because then down here, 5 pages later, it fits in. And that's not the most of the time. If you write all the time, and I haven't written all the time a while for now. The only book I'm working on, usually I'm working about 2 or 3. The only books I'm working on right now on the story is this horror story, and so I haven't touched anything else because most of my other time is just done in this or in meetings at the moment. So, by this I mean like color fading. So with that, it's a good way to never throw away anything, man. Like really, if you're in the comic business, don't throw away anything, especially if you're a writer. Even if and also especially if you're an artist, man, do not throw away anything. Right? That's why people say, "Well, I have a sketchbook, so it's all stuck there." But if you don't have a sketchbook and you did digital, just copy, just save as something else. Never throw it away, because ideas come at you whenever, and if you don't note it down, you lose them. Usually, if I wake up and I realize that it's the dream I had would make a great story, I just turn on the freaking computer. Well, my computer's on all the time, but just turn on the screen, whatever. After it's gone into sleep mode, whatever, and shake it awake. And that way, you have ideas. You have all these things that are there that you can rely on when you have your and people do, right? Everybody does have some sort of creative block, especially if you're a creative person. And so rather than getting frustrated, you got all this other stuff there that you've saved that might help you work out the story. This little blue thing. I was like, oh, this blue one is what do you call it? It's like crown, bane. Where cape. I know what is it? It's like a mask and cowl, like Batman. Yeah, it's a cowl, isn't it? So I think that's what's called, a Batman cowl. COWL. It's like the more closer I go, the more I see errors. But when you look at natural size, it doesn't look like anything is wrong with it. And it's the thing about zooming in details. It's like when you watch HD movies nowadays on 4K movies, when they used to be made on 480 or 720p. And so you can see all the blemishes on skin and stuff like that. And you go, oh, I don't really want to see that. No, I don't need to see all that. And it's the same thing when it's like digital CGI and stuff. It's like, we call it that aged badly. But really, it's just, technology is technology, right? And a lot of times technology can showcase our falsity quite a lot, especially when it comes to stuff that we do, like with images and I kind of like the crispness of inking. So I tend to remove these sort of pencil lines and stuff. I think, if I wanted, I could probably darken it more, through the filter. Let me display it. So it's more black, clear black lines rather than shading. But it's just but it depends on like how much, right? I just realized how'd you end up there? What I do wrong. Yeah. I see. It's when I was like fixing up this that I ended up on the black on the ink line, ink layer, I should say. There we go. Now, she'll duplicate that so in case if I don't like it, I don't have to go back. Just have this safe layer. We do. So there's this tonal correction thing, right? You can do, which with Club Studio here, I'm sure everybody else has it as well, where you can actually go in and you could clean out. I mean, like you could, you know, see. I'm moving. I mean, you can't see the one that I'm moving because it's just a little freaking window that's opened up here. I'd love to have the whole window open. I mean, to show the little tab, but it's not. See if I can there. Maybe preview on that. So I am on the line later. Okay, it's like that. So it's nothing with that one. So let's try the one. Color balance, tone curve. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at here. This image here. I mean, looking to change. That one might. So bring it up to reset. No, nothing changes. So let me try binary. It's actually one of our Kiwi friends who always do I have on stream. Wrasslin. There you go. Yeah, that's kind of nasty. You see the change, right? So it's there. So you could do it like that, you know, but it still have this sort of like dark mesh things, which would help me with for clearing, but it's just a bit too transparent. There you go. So that looks better. So if you leave it transparent, it looks better. Hold on. Yeah, if I do that, then it's a bit easier clean up there. So it's like it was 70 or something, but the right amount that I had set up for the other ones. So you can see these lines here. So if I do binarization, you see that the lines go away. So let's see what happens there if I do that. Nothing. But I think if I have the binarization with the transparency, it does something. I mean, it does nothing, but if I have it without transparency, right? So like that. So that's without the transparency. This is with the transparency. So I guess I have to play with the that'll be easier for me to clean up. It's that dark, so let's go with that. So I can still, yeah. Actually, no, let's see the lines are all going. It's like all pixelated now. It's gross. So then the best thing here would be to darken the lines. Level correction. It's got to be high. So didn't touch it all. Yeah. That way. But yes, I'll do it myself. If you don't like it, binarized. It'll be easy. I think it's leaving me to cut up these lines. You know. It's much better. Kind of clean up. See, I don't mind this the lines inside on the actual, let's say for inking on the interior art, because it'll give it much more dirty look, dirty horror look, which is why I actually wanted this artist on here to work on this comic, because it's a horror comic. You know, zombies and stuff like that, dead bodies everywhere. Take one. But on the cover, kind of like a nice clean look. Kind of crispness. There you go. Bye-bye, Fat. Who you were. Stupid. Okay. The blues and stuff like on here, it's gonna be interesting. Like I've got, I don't even kind of want the red background, but I'm gonna figure out how to make this sort of work together with the background stuff once I finish. But the red's probably gonna go. Mainly because like now it's just, color blotting. Blocking, I should say. Was it blotting? One thing I realized with this whole Rampage Jackson thing was that like how much wrestling fans have the same view on it compared to non-wrestling fans, and also how much certain pros have a certain view on it, and they're only in the very, very minority that's who have who are supporting Raja in this. Black Bear. Some green is here as well. So change the tone. Let's go. This. Try to around and change the tone of there. a different green. So it's much darker. So it's kind of like further away. Then do this as another different tone of green. Gives that much closer to us. Give it a different tone. So it's a bit brighter. And this one, another different tone. So I'm really glad that a lot of the channels are calling it out, especially wrestling channels. That I watch, they're all, yeah, this was a shit thing to do to someone, and for all these other people like, like Mark Henry making about race. RBD with his doped out on marijuana all the time. I got your back. Yeah. And then, I'm on the side of Roger, and then trying to walk it back when realizing the people are actually don't think the same way as RBD is thinking about this, and trying to walk it back, but not really walking it back. And then also, of course, you've got the Sayel, whoever the hell his name is, I can't remember. I didn't even know who he was until somebody mentioned, from MMA, a former MMA guy. Going, oh, Roger did nothing wrong. What? On punching a man who's knocked out 23 times, breaking his teeth, knocking out his teeth. Dude's while he's unconscious, choking on his own blood. And then also, who was the other guy? There's Mark Henry, RBD. Oh yeah, Maven. Maven of all people was also supporting Raja. While leaving out information to his freaking to his on his video video about it, like totally leaving out like actual video footage of what happened prior, during, and after. So he thinking that, oh yeah, nobody else is going to be putting out all these other videos and was going to give more rounded information about it. No, Maven just wants to like save his bankroll, right? And not talk about the fact that what happened was not, wasn't a friggin' wasn't a spot, and the guy who got knocked out nearly died, unless this guy Doug, his mate, hadn't stepped in to save his life. But yeah, Maven's another person who, had to unsub from because of his freaking ridiculous take on the whole thing, man. I just can't believe that the dude would even, that like not show it, and then his subscribers basically calling him out on his on his stream, on his video, saying you left out important details. Maven, who talks about safety in the ring and how people gimmick stuff, and like, yeah, that dude. Like I said, it just really shows you the marks, as they say, right? In wrestling, man. Those who are there for the money, and those who are there for the audience and for the wrestlers. Really, really showed that off to this whole situation with the Jackson kid. It's not even a kid. They kept calling him a kid. He's 25 years old. And that's the other thing I've noticed about violence. When it's perpetrated by a certain race of people, they go to the kid thing. Oh, he's just a child, man. He's a teenager. He doesn't understand. And he's a freaking grown adult. I watched this over in Europe, like in England, right? There was these 3 kids. I think it was like 4 kids, 4 young girls who went to a Taylor Swift dress up party dance thing at their kindergarten. You know, at their kindergarten. Parents send their kids across. You know, go on, kids. Go and have a good day today at the kindergarten, you know. Those kids didn't come home. Because his migrant 18-year-old at the time basically knifed them all. Went into the building and murdered those kids. And everybody in the news were calling this 18-year-old a kid. He's only a child. They had him all over the child, and then it was realized that he was like around 20. Right? Was like he was not a minor. He was not a child. I think I remember I did a video on it, but I just can't remember. It was like a year ago on the other channel, and I was like fuming. Because I realized that this is how the way the media plays the game, right? Is that if it's a dark-skinned person, and I am dark-skinned, by the way, pretty dark-skinned, probably as much as Rampage Jackson, right? That when it comes to violence with children, you know, like not violence with children, I mean like violence perpetrated towards children or towards others, the dark-skinned person is always treated like a child. Oh, he's just a mature. He's just a mature. He's young. He'll grow up just like what's his name was saying. It's the exact words were like, it's a bit too mature. He'll grow into it, kind of thing. You know, it's good. So it's like, what you want to keep this? That was Mark Henry, by the way. That once, you know, we just keep this person around. He'll grow up into being more mature about these things, like being more violent, learning how to get away with it, how to use his daddy's name to get away with things. It's really that's what it is. It's like now it's like, it's a Jackson family, But yeah, and they always do that, man. I just hate it when they. It's like babying the darker race of people, right? It's very racist, really, to like downplay an age of a person, to treat them like children when they're adults just because they're a darker skin tone. That's why like woke is like the ultimate racism. Because what they do, what wokeness does, or what they're for wokeness, what it does is just like points out the racism. Right? We need more people. We need more. The only way dark-skinned people can get into this industry is if we push them into that. If we make it easier on them to get into it, not that they should work harder to get into it. Right? No, but they should be. They should work less hard, but get better pay, get better jobs, because they're dark skinned. Really sucks, man. I hate seeing that as a dark skinned person. It just means you're just babying me, when people do it to me, right? Because of my skin color, nothing else, or my nationality, or ethnicity. I was like dark skinned people change the tone around me when I start speaking. Right? They treat me like another person like them when they see me, and then when I start speaking, they treat me like a white person very quickly. Yeah, because I'm like, sweet, thank you. because I don't want to be treated like a friggin', dark-skinned person, because that means that you're gonna behave a certain way towards me. I'm like, I don't want that shit. Thank you very much, but no. Say about this cow. Washington Monument. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. I don't know what it's called. But this is based in Washington, so. This was Steve Smitty's book, Valley of the Kings. I like this story. It's pretty cool. I'm doing everything on it except the art and interior colors. Was the reference for the character here. Yeah, it is. This is the reference of the character. So this is the character here. Didn't do this. Things that do this. So you see the tones here. The grays, the blues, kind of a royal blue. So it's kind of not a royal, like a gunmetal blue. So here, some of these curves here, I got to work out this gold for the gold jewelry for bands. See this on the legs as well. Oh, I don't see the legs. There's a back here. Across here, there's got that right here. And all that is blue. So there's two dark tones, but there is also this gray black. You can see here the tone here, it's a difference, which is around here. So I'm going to have to figure out how to make it darker in areas and lighter in areas there. Then you get the one eye, Hathor. It's not Hathor. It might be the other one. One of the other kings, Egyptian kings. Kids, they haven't done much because I've been clean up things today. Just a lot. Here. Red here. Open. Where are they? Change the reference. The layer. Yep. China. That's his leg. What's this? Look at the artist about that. So I can't, I can't tell what that is meant to be. That's a, you know, top of my head. Say. It's supposed to go there. Okay, I think that's it for today. I wasn't meaning to stream today, but I just needed to get that Rampage Jackson thing out of my head. Being a fan of wrestling for 40 years, I used to fight with my dad about being able to watch wrestling. When I was a kid, when I was 14, 15, might even be younger than that. Because it was when it was on here to be on it about, TV. That's the only way you used to be able to watch it back then. It would be on around about 10 or 11 at night on a Friday or something, or Thursday. Must have been on Friday. And so, Dad's watching this program, and there was only like a TV in our room. But we did also have a little tiny one, black and white one. But you can't really watch wrestling on a friggin' what's like a 6-inch by 6-inch TV screen. Black and white especially. Or was it in color? Oh no, that was in color, but still sucked. And then instead of being able to watch it on 24-inch, and the colored one in the lounge. So I remember one time having a blow off with my dad, and he said, "Oh, it's all fake. There's no point watching that shit. It's all fake." Of course, he was right. It is. But there is, like I said, that 1% where it's scripted, but there's a 1% chance when people get hurt. And people do get hurt all the time. Of course, they do. You can see all the bruises on the skin. You can see the broken bones of fingers, concussions. So it's only scripted to a point. Because when you're there, slamming on it, slamming down on a hard surface, mistakes happens. Right? Not only that, chair shots and stuff could go wrong, could break the finger. I was watching Forbidden Door, and Darby Allin was out for ages. He was just like lying there for ages, waiting for the pain to go down. From what I would do, because I do that every time. When I wake up, I just take a pill and just lie there, put YouTube on and just lie there waiting for the pain meds to do work on my body. Then wake up and grab a drink, brush teeth, make a coffee. But yeah, so I was just watching him. He was just like lying there because he hit the shot. He hit it a spot. And that looked really bad. Sometimes I feel like Darby Allin might actually not feel pain sometimes. I know he does, but I mean, like, it's one of those, where like that whole kick us character. You know, he goes into that accident, and now his nerves like are dead. So there is no sort of like point of reference for him when it's pain. You know, but he does those spots because that's who he is, right? And that's his whole, I guess, gimmick, like Daredevil kind of situation, which, you know, for a dude who was homeless to being able to go to that far, man, to be beloved, beloved, and I mean that worldwide by kids, by wrestling fans, people who actually are real about it. You know, can appreciate the fact what he has done and what he does. Which makes it exciting, right? As a viewer, it makes it very exciting as a viewer to watch. But still, you know, you still be like, you know, on your the age of your seat, I guess, say, freaking out about how, please don't die, right? Chance go up because people go like freaking out. And there was a couple of those during that match, which is the last match of the night, which was like lights out cage match. It was brutal, man. Like even with the scripting and all that, like I said, things go wrong. And people get hurt. Especially with I can't remember his name now, it really sucks. I think, like I said, I have terrible name record recall. But he got hit. It was Carl Fletcher he was in a match with, and I watched and I was like, holy shit, that's not good. His head, I think Carl misjudged how long, you know, how far away the edge of the what's it called? The ring was like the outer ring part. And so when he went to do a backslap, you know, like throw him onto the edge on the padded area, he missed and got the back of the head, where it should have been the shoulders that hit him. And that's how he got concussed. And so now he's like, you know, medical. He wasn't able to defend his Intercontinental, I think it was, or something like that. The one that's Carl Fletcher, the Aussies, actually is actually holding on to now. I mean, the belt that he's wearing now, which he fought with Dustin Rhodes to win. I mean, in a match with him. And you know, and Dustin was injured as well, so he had to give that up. It was pretty hardcore matches. Like that's what I like about you know, as dangerous as it is to do those matches. That's what I like about AEW, which I said I watch religiously. This is funny. So I feel like this. Let's get a little female here. So you know. loads. Lots. Loads. All right. I think that's about it for today for me. Oops. So I feel like I've done more than I feel like I've done. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Hopefully it wasn't too depressing with the Rampage Jackson thing. You know, it's just sad to watch as a, you know, because I do love you know, wrestling, and I've loved it for, like I said, nearly 40 years. And to see so many people that I think would, you know, like RBD, Mike Henry, Maven, would have such an opposing view to what you know, what we're seeing, and know what happened from actual eyewitnesses. It's sad. I just hope that, you know, doesn't divide the freaking so-called, you know, wrestling fans against these you know, so-called pro wrestlers who are, you know, going to bat for Rampage Jackson because of his dad. If there was any other man that would be behaving this way, it's because of his name alone. Nepotism makes people do crazy things. All right, thank you guys. Cookie down, or catch you on the flip side. Stay loyal to your Monkey King. Farewell. Be good. Well, not be good. Be well. All the best. See you next time.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.